Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, November 18th, 2024. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. It is great to be here on a lovely November afternoon in New York City. And my, oh freaking my, do we have a lot to discuss. Golly, what a weekend in combat sports. We all thought it would be a very newsworthy weekend in combat sports. We all were looking forward to this post-pay-per-view Monday, but I don't know if we all thought it would be as jam-packed as this. So much on the docket, so much to discuss. I am back, as you can see, from my lovely trip to Texas, deep in the heart of Texas. The Southern hospitality was just out of control. So kind, so nice. Jerry's World, beautiful, fantastic. Second time I've attended an event at that venue. First time was WrestleMania a couple of years ago, but of course this was a big one. Netflix, Tyson, Paul, all that stuff and more. We shall get into it. And I let everyone in the back know, but I'll just, because I'm fully transparent, I like to, let everyone know what's going on. You guys, the audience, things have changed. Things have changed since, 65 million households and whatnot. So I do have an assistant in the back in the control room. So Frank, GC, Rick, Jordan, Andy, they have to talk to the assistant who then talks to me now. There's no more. There's a little bit of a barrier now because things have changed. We've leveled up. The world was watching on Friday, so...
Are the headphones kind of a lot of pressure on your head right now because of how big it's gotten, or...?
Sorry, no, you have to tell my assistant, Jesse,
sorry. Yeah.
And then you come to me with all quips and remarks and whatnot. So that's how we're going to do this because...
That's fucking bullshit.
I mean, was there a point there on Friday, Frank? I know you guys were doing a watch party and whatnot, but you were like, wow, you know what? Yeah, sure, we disrespect Ariel, we kind of treat him as, I never was, but this is pretty cool, he's in the ring, he's on Netflix, he's with the big shots. Was there a point where at least you were a little bit proud of me?
Well, so I guess you just didn't watch the watch party at all.
Or I'm proud of you.
No, I actually didn't watch the watch party.
You.
I was literally.
We were watching you do your thing.
No, were you guys like, you know what? For all the jokes, this kid from Montreal, that was pretty big time. Were you guys like that?
I guess you just have to go back and watch.
What number is on that?
It would have been nice to get a shout out or two, to your crew.
I tried to sneak it in. I did give a shout out to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if you heard that.
I see where we
Twitter.
lie and the...
Yeah,
all right.
It's the Bills.
Big win yesterday.
Massive, gigantic win. Undefeated no more. Jokes aside, though, guys, I've never experienced anything like this. In many different ways, but we'll do the show, we'll do big shows, we'll have CM Punk in studio, we'll do an ESPN thing here, an Olympics thing there, HBO, Showtime, etc. I've never experienced anything where every time I appeared on camera, there was 60 new texts on my phone. And then, it's random people who I haven't heard from, or it's parents at my kid's school, or there's a soccer chat for my daughter's team last year that was lit up. This chat hasn't been active for a year, but it was just some sort of acknowledgement. I've never experienced, and this isn't about me, of course, but where else but here on the show with my name on it can I talk about these things? It was at times, I don't want to say overwhelming because it was incredible, but it was kind of mind-blowing. And this is before we knew about the numbers and I had heard about the streaming and the issues and all that stuff. How many people who have never talked to me about fighting, who won't know a thing about anything that I do or anyone who I talk to, people reaching out to my parents, to my siblings, to my wife. It was just I wonder if this is going to be, by the time it's all said and done, the biggest thing that I'll ever do. I hope not, but it gave me some sort of insight into what it's like being on a Super Bowl broadcast where hundreds of millions of people are watching. Because the press release that came out said 65 million households, not 65 million people. Most people aren't watching this alone. Most people have multiple people watching or are sharing passwords and all that stuff. So by the time it's all said and done, it could be well over 100 million viewers. How they count this sort of thing, I don't know. But it felt like a big deal. And I do have to say, you know, this may be a one-off. Who knows what the future plans are? Blown away by just all the details and the planning and the, just how organized everything was from a production standpoint behind the scenes. Guys, I've done a lot of shows and whatnot. They'll have a makeup artist sometimes, most of the times. They not only did they had multiple makeup, they had a barber in the locker room. They had an actual barber set up in there.
That's pretty exciting.
That's insane. I've never seen that before. Every single member of and there was, several talent members, if you want to call them that, hosts, reporters, whatever, analysts, celebrities. Everyone had their own room. Usually it's just like you sit in a room and you all kind of, eat carrots and dip and stuff like that. Everyone had their own room. It was a big freaking deal. And it felt like a big deal. And it was a huge personal highlight, and it was surreal at times. There's a moment there where I'm standing in between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, and I'm just looking at Mike. And I'm like, I can't believe that I'm actually doing this. Someone who would watch all his fights, would go to his grandparents' house and rewatch the pay-per-views because maybe I wasn't able to stay up so late, go to Jilly's on DeCarry with my friends to watch pay-per-views and be like, man, I want to do that. I don't want to be the play-by-play guy. I don't want to be the analyst. I don't even want to be the third man in the booth. I want to do that. I want to be the guy with the microphone. At the presser, at the weigh-ins where he almost bit my head off, at the fight, in the ring, post-fight, in the locker room. Like, that is exactly all that I ever wanted to do. And so to do it on a big stage like that, polarizing fight or not, and we'll get into all of that, it was a huge, huge, huge personal dream realized, a personal achievement checked off. And I had a blast.
Awesome,
yeah, I had a blast.
Did it feel like a downgrade when you had to go get your DoorDash today?
No.
All right.
It's good to be humble. It's good to...
you had your own room as well?
I had my own little thing. So we were in the visitors' locker room, and we all had like these little curtained off rooms. They were almost like holding cells. And then the real big shots, not naming names, had their actual own room, door closed, makeup, all that stuff. Now, I walked into mine, and I was like, what am I supposed to do here? I feel like this is a holding cell. So I just congregated in the middle with, some of the other talent. There's Big Mo, the ring announcer. I thought he did a fantastic job. Just 29, former D1 offensive lineman, I believe, if memory serves me correct, Northern Colorado. And now look at him, killing it. Dan Canobio of Inside Boxing Live, he was there as well. Sean Wheelock, who I never worked before. Mauro Ranallo, Rosie Perez, of course. Mauro's there with Frank Shamrock, who's his manager. Roy Jones, Andre Ward. Kate Scott, of course, formerly known as Kate Abdo. It was a time, my friends. It was a time. Can I be honest with you about something? This is just between us friends.
Yes, please.
When I did the intro, when I said the, where else would you rather be than right here, right now part, I will admit to this. I have no problem saying it. My kneecap was shaking so much, like it was going like up, down, because like this is your introduction. You don't want to screw that up. You get 30 seconds to make an impression to everyone, to the people in the truck, to the people at home, to your colleagues, some of them first time working with them. My kneecap felt like it was going up, down, up, down, up, down. That was the kind of adrenaline. And then I calmed down. I do feel like I could have been better. I've been replaying some scenarios in my mind. And I was supposed to get the Tyson locker room interview, by the way, the one that has gone viral with, the ass cheeks being revealed. But it was taking so long for him to do his drug test. I had to go back ringside because the Barrios Ramos fight was wrapping up. And so they sent his son, who's a great young man who I've never met before, but is really entertaining and very talented. He did the prelims, so he did it, and that I thought was really, really cool that he got to interview his dad, because he was like 5-6 years old when his dad last fought in a pro fight against Kevin McBride, and then of course the ass cheeks heard around the world. We're going to talk about, or seen around the world, slap seen and heard around the world on Thursday, not Friday. Kept making that mistake all week. We are going to talk about all of this and more. Of course, 309 has come and gone. Madison Square Garden, Jon Jones dismantles. I mean, I everything I was hearing. Forget everything I've told you about Stipe Miocic. It was all wrong. It was all absolutely wrong. And of course, not fair. a lot of the credit goes to Jon. He was fantastic. And I do have some thoughts on that and Tom Aspinall and all that stuff and more. We need to get into all of that. I'll tell you what's happening on today's program. Back end of the show, there's only one guy I want to hear from on this Monday, and that is the pride of the United Kingdom, the pride of Great Britain, the pride of Manchester, the pride of Wigan. Nah. Tommy Aspinall. Yeah, Tommy Aspinall going to join us. Only interview he's doing post-fight, he told me it's with us, and I look forward to talking to him at 4 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, the man who scored his first knockout in the UFC, he concludes the year, unless he takes a short notice fight next month, which I doubt. But, knowing him, wouldn't be surprised. The Welsh gangster himself, what a win. What a cracker in the 3rd round, defeating Basil Hafez via TKO. The Welsh gangster, the pride of Wales. Who's the baddest man in New York City, brother? And he was like, why can't I do it? Anyway, Oban Elliott, as promised, in studio at 3 o'clock. Looking forward to talking to him. And then 2:35, Bo Nickal will join us to talk about his maligned win over Paul Craig. I think a little bit unfair. There's the lineup. We got a great week of guests coming your way. We kick things off on this post-pay-per-view Monday. And you know what? Usually on a post-pay-per-view Monday, there's one pay-per-view. And I know that Friday's show wasn't a pay-per-view, but one massive show to talk about, right? And usually I will sit here for 30 minutes or so and wax poetic and then throw it to the guys to get their thoughts on it all. But because Friday felt so significant from a business standpoint, from a sporting standpoint, and from a just a cultural moment standpoint. And then Saturday was so big with the main event, and then Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler in Madison Square Garden, and 47 in attendance alongside the Republican Avengers and whatnot. I actually wanted to open things up to the boys in the back and Pizzi. Is Pizzi considered part of the boys in the back, or is boys in the back just Frank?
He's across the pond in the back. He's the boy across the pond.
Pizzi's part of whatever he wants.
Okay.
Pizzi gets to make those calls. Pizzi's a big boy.
Can you imagine us coming to work wearing a lovely day for a Guinness hat? Like, hey, man, I was here at 9 a.m. ready to go.
That's the right vibe, though.
I've only had 4 points. We should relax, okay?
That's a rookie number.
Yeah, celebrating that Big Bills win. I'm just wondering when all the fancy equipment we sent Pizzi is actually going to go into effect.
What did I tell you?
I'm just wondering.
He sent me today.
It's there.
I had him lay it all out on a table and take a video so I could assure it's all there.
Okay.
And then I'm like, you want to get this set up? He's like, let's do it tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, well, when the old whip cracker asks us about it, I want you to let him know. He's like, oh, has he been giving you a hard time? I'm like, no, but I can feel it.
It's literally the first time I've ever mentioned it. But I'm waiting for the shot to come up, and he looks a little extra crystal clear.
I have to show you the video of him showing me the boxes. It's just honestly, we should be airing it right now. It's hilarious.
All right. Well, I look forward to that day. Here's what I wanted to start with. What was the story of the weekend, guys? What was the story? There's so many different directions. Pizzi, we've all weighed in some way, shape, or form. We've yet to hear from you since this weekend, so I will start with you. You go to the pub this evening, and so it's like, hey, I hear it was a big weekend in combat sports. What was the story? What was the story this weekend?
In Ireland,
oh, fuck. You know what? I didn't even think of that angle. So I guess it might not even be the one that everyone else says. Go ahead.
So in Ireland the next day, I was meant to be on the show with the lads afterwards, but the streaming situation was dire here.
But that's your fault. I mean, the Wi-Fi there is shite.
Come on,
let's be
mate.
honest.
Listen, let's stop being such a shill.
Yeah.
I had a TV, I had a laptop, and I had my phone out, and they would all stop at different times. So I'm trying to watch, and then it would stop for like 5 minutes, and then the third round would start playing on all of them at the same time. But the problem was we were already in round 7, and I was losing my shit. Elaine went to bed, and I woke her up. I was shouting at my devices so much during this process.
My favorite part was people hitting me up like I work for Netflix tech support.
No, you took that upon yourself.
You were
saying to me, what's going on? And I was like, mate, I can't fucking watch the thing. And you're like, well, what do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do? I'm locked in here. I got Jordan Maldonado screaming down my neck. You think I'm worried about the stream?
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Well, you're asking me, what do you think's happening here? And I was like, well, the fucking buffering symbol is happening a lot. That's it. The the next morning, people were very upset with Rosie Perez here. Very upset with Mauro Ronaldo, the legend. And honestly, I was being hit like you at that point. So I haven't had a proper viewing experience of this fight yet. And I woke up at 10 a.m. with people in Ireland who've just watched the fight. They didn't stay up for it. And they're like, this is an absolute disgrace. I mean, this fight is so close. And they're acting as if Katie Taylor has somehow, abused the rule set and has used her head to cut her open in the hopes that the fight would be stopped early. And then when the decision is read out in her favor, Mauro and Rosie particularly were like, this is crazy. And when I watched the fight, that's not what I saw at all. I actually had scored it. I had it round by round, but I can't find the piece of paper. But I had a draw at the end with the point deduction.
So did I, by the way.
I was like, I don't mind if this goes either way. It's a brilliant, brilliant fight. But for all the talk, and I know you saw plenty of this of the Tyson, so many people so upset about desecrating the legacy of Tyson. In Ireland, we felt as though Katie Taylor, what she's done for women's boxing, it feels like they're tarnishing her legacy by saying she's using her head. She didn't win the fight. She has no argument for her winning the fight. That was pretty much how Irish people felt about it. And that would have been the story of the weekend over here. Certainly, you know what Katie means to the Irish people. So they felt
apparently not important enough to stay up. I mean, it was only what was
well, mate, when the stream is fucking all over the gap, what do you want us to do?
I mean, I remember them staying up for Connor. I'll just say that.
Will you have a word with Netflix about that?
I can't believe it. The trilogy will be just fine. It obviously won't.
Why would we do a trilogy? Why would we do a trilogy?
It obviously won't take place in Croke Park because they love her, but not enough to actually have her fight in a proper stadium in Ireland. But I actually agreed with you. I thought it was going to be a draw because of the point deduction. And I was, I look, I don't think that Rosie Perez should be held to the same standard as a typical fight analyst. Now, you could say, look, you're being put in that chair, you're being put in that spot, then you should be held to that standard. But she's more the celebrity fan. She's from Puerto Rico. To me, she just has an inherent bias just because of her background. She's not going to hide from it. It was a super close fight. I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of stick. People were saying that I should have defended Katie's honor in front of Jordan.
That's not your job. That's not your job. I
mean, he went in there. I didn't give him the mic, but I did think that the cut was significant. The headbutts were significant to the point where there was a point deduction. And so it was a story. And Katie should defend herself. To me, defending her honor was giving her a chance to answer to what he was saying about her. And he said it about her in between rounds. I think it was in between the 8th and 9th or 9th and 10th where he said that she was fighting dirty. So I was giving her a chance to defend herself. It's not up for me to be there, white knighting for her. I mean, look at this cut. It's pretty damn significant. And so I thought I was doing that. In retrospect, people thought otherwise to a degree. I thought Katie and Amanda were both very classy afterwards. Even Amanda the next day, apologizing for saying that she in the moment thought that she was leaning in with her head and trying to headbutt her, etc. She did mention the featherweight thing a bunch of times. At that point, it's like, you signed up for this, so I get it. I would love to see another fight. I would love to see a trilogy. I would love to see it 2 more times. The 20 rounds that they've shared in the ring have been magical. Each one better than the previous one. Just absolute amazing stuff. And what's so important, and I'm actually kind of happy that you've led with this, Pete. The thing that pissed me off the most wasn't the complaints about the stream, wasn't the complaints about Mike Tyson's age. We knew about all of this. How many times did I say on this show, I don't know what to expect, and I don't know how to feel. How many times did I say on this show that the day Nikisa told me about this fight, I thought, really? Like, you guys are fighting Andre August and Ryan Borland. Like, this is a departure from that. And saying, I just hope everything is okay. And I thought once that, he withdrew in June, that the fight would have been scrapped altogether and they wouldn't have gone back to the well. And I wanted the Logan Paul fight and all that stuff. I said this time and again. I have not changed my stance. I am happy that everything, was okay and everyone seems healthy and we can move on from this. But there's 2 things that kind of get under my skin when I see the aftermath. Number one, it's the people who, again, never talk about boxing, don't watch boxing, don't care about boxing, don't have a DAZN subscription, aren't watching Top Rank on a Saturday or Friday night, aren't watching PBC on Amazon, and I see them saying, we need to stop being conned by this. We need to stop falling for this. We need to stop, giving this our attention so that boxing can clean itself up once and for all. You don't watch boxing to begin with. You don't give a shit about boxing. You weren't conned by anything. The only thing that you did was convince yourself that Mike Tyson was going to show up as a 1987 version of himself and turn back the clock and shut up the guy that for whatever reason you can't stand. You're the sucker. You convinced yourself of this. No one conned you. No one told you that he was going to turn back the clock. And no one told you that this was the best of boxing. Because if you stuck around for Barrios Ramos, if you stuck around or showed up early for Taylor Serrano, you would have seen the best of boxing. And the issue with boxing over the years has been put one fight at the top and nothing on the bottom. This card didn't do that. Did you watch Shushu Carrington on the prelims? Did you watch Shadeja Green on the prelims? No, you didn't. Did you watch Taylor Serrano? You may have stumbled while you were waiting to talk shit about Tyson Paul. But if you watched, and a lot of people came up to me on Saturday when I was at my kids' soccer, like, holy shit, those two women were incredible. Tell me more about them. And so, yes, there is a trickle-down effect. And yes, it will go down as the most watched women's sporting event in U.S. history. That's incredible. But spare me we were conned again. You know why you weren't conned? You didn't pay a cent for it. It was part of your Netflix subscription. If you would have paid $70, you have, and Dana White said it himself, you have a leg to stand on. This was essentially free. No one, told you to sign up. You all had it already. And so this idea that you were conned, this idea that, oh my God, the stream, this and that, yeah, of course that was annoying, but you didn't pay for it. It was all on the house. It was all extra added value. You got great fights beforehand, and you got what you should have expected in the main event. That's what you should have. What did I say? It was going to be Jake Paul probably via decision or fourth round. I don't know what show I said it on. Maybe it was not this one, but that's what I was saying leading up to the fight. And that's what we got. Now we could talk about whether or not he carried him, whether or not he went easy, but I'm happy that we didn't see Mike Tyson get knocked out. I'm happy we didn't see him get stretchered out. And I'm happy that, most importantly, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are being talked about by the world, that when Amanda Serrano is now posting on social media, she's getting 200,000 likes. And you're right, Pete. Katie Taylor didn't deserve that. She's one of the greatest athletes in the history of combat sports and certainly one of the most respected and classy athletes. She didn't deserve those boos, but I was hearing it in my ear, the commentators, and I was hearing the crowd boo her, and so I wanted her to respond to that because she, in my opinion, deserves the opportunity to respond to that. Regardless of all that nonsense, spare me the fucking sanctimonious bullshit about we were conned. You were not conned. You conned yourself. No one conned you. Everyone knew exactly what this was. 14-ounce gloves, 8 2-minute rounds. You should have known better, and you should have listened to the people who were telling you what to expect. Everyone else, you hopefully got a great night of fights and enjoyed it for what it was, and it sucks about the streaming, but these are the things that are going to happen. Hopefully by the time they have NFL on Christmas and Raw in January and all that stuff, Seriously. They figure it all out.
Yeah, one thing, Chuck Mendenhall wrote an article about this global outrage, and he makes a great point at the very end of the article. Let's remember what was the engine room of the promotion of this fight. It was controversy. From the word go, people were open arms about Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. In a way, this event, it's asking for that. The whole situation has been this controversy, clutching pearls. Oh my God, this guy's a joke. This guy's a legend, but he's very old. All this stuff. It was only ever going to be lampooned. Do you get me? Like it was, that is something that these events breed. Like every single Jake Paul fight, and we've saw it on a much smaller level in MMA audiences or somewhat of a boxing audience. But this is the first time, as you said, 65 million people around, or 65 million households around the world have this on their screen. It was inevitable. Like, I completely agree with you in terms of, I would much rather this outcome than seeing Tyson sprawled out in the first round, or any round for that matter. But when we're preparing to watch an event like this, and an event that has been fueled by outrage and controversy, of course it was going to be a massive lampooning when it happened, no matter what way it happened. So I think you've got to expect that to some degree. I don't think these people, for the most part, are really upset. I don't think they're like sitting, drinking their coffee on Monday morning and being like, I can't fucking believe they did this. Like they aren't. But the way the event was, it was always going to have this outpouring of emotion. And there is things to be annoyed about, but nothing terrible happened. As I said to you the next day, I texted you the next day and said, Tyson is fine. He's texting. I mean, he's putting out social media posts, speaking afterwards, all this stuff. This is great because our worst fears weren't realized. But of course, it's part of this that everyone would get on and criticize Jake Paul, a 28-year-old man fighting Mike Tyson, a 58-year-old man. Of course.
He's also around $40 million or so richer. No one forced him to take this fight. He gladly wanted to take this fight. And in fact, he tells me afterwards he wants to do more. Do I want to see more of him in there? No, it was what it was. He looked much older than he did 4 years prior against Roy Jones. The guy who fought Roy Jones, I think, would have had a much better showing than the one who showed up on Friday. He had obviously been through something very significant just a few months ago, and maybe that should have been the sign to pull the plug. And I don't think anyone would have faulted them for it. But in the end, nothing serious happened. And in the end, it was, to me, the greatest byproduct of all of this was that boxing was put on Netflix and a lot of people got to see it and hopefully are now fans of Mario Barrios and Albo Ramos and Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 2 never happens. We would never have gotten it if not for this fight happening on Netflix. It was DOA. They couldn't have been further apart. Katie Taylor was fighting at 140. Amanda Serrano was fighting at 126, and she was saying she's only fighting 3-minute rounds from here on out. They couldn't have been further apart. So you saw those 10 rounds on Friday. You loved those 10 rounds. You were never getting them if not for this. And so there are things that should be celebrated. Now, do we want to keep seeing Jake fight these fights? No. Do I want to see him fight someone in the top 10 next? No, as Stephen A. Smith said. Like, what? Again, you're just proving that you don't know what you're watching. He's not a top 10 fighter just yet. Is it possible that we're going to get the Canelo fight, as I said last week? Yes. But Rick has been the one from the beginning who has said he doesn't care for that path. And so let me turn it to you, Rick. You see this. You now have had 2 days to digest it. Your take on what transpired there. Was that just another Jake Paul fight? Was that a sham? Tell us your honest feelings. Was that a step backwards for him as a draw? Was that a step forward? Is he more popular now? How do you feel about it 2 days later?
A step forward. As you said, I have been pretty steady on my feelings about Jake Paul. No interest in Jake Paul's boxing career. Big interest in Jake Paul being one of the only people who can drive an event of this magnitude, not just for his star power, but also now he has the promotion to be able to do it. And now potentially with a successful event, I would consider the success. I can't speak for Netflix. I imagine that they got a lot of eyeballs on their product, and I would imagine they view it as a success. Now a potential distribution arm that is massive that he now has partnered with once and could partner with in the future. You can't look at this as anything other than a success from the Jake Paul business perspective, from the Jake Paul brand, from the MVP business perspective, the MVP brand. I don't want to see him fight a top 10 boxer because I don't think it would be particularly competitive. That person would beat Jake Paul, and I'm very certain of that because I don't think he's as good a boxer as a top 10 in the world boxer in his weight class. But I am very interested and continue to be interested in Jake Paul putting on big, high-level, very big profile entertainment. The problem is, it feels like this was like the apex. It feels like this was the top. How do you go anywhere from here? A name like Canelo, to me, would achieve that goal, but I don't think it would be a competitive boxing match. I think Canelo would be as far ahead as Jake Paul as Jake Paul was ahead of Mike Tyson.
Isn't that the best case scenario then? Everyone wants to see him lose at this point, and Canelo.
For the people that are rooting against him, you mean?
Yeah.
Sure. If they
By the way,
that.
Everyone is rooting against him. The only way that people would have left Friday, streaming issues aside, with a smile on their face is he gets knocked out in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth round, right?
I think that's
the only result.
Of the hardcore combat community, yes. I think there are a lot of his fans, and that is a big number that are
straight.
Jake Paul, this is what we want. We want to see him take on the next challenge. The same way KSI fans, this is a not insignificant number of people who see Jake Paul as an inspiration, see Jake Paul as a reason to chase your dreams and do these things. So the hardcore combat fans, I think, all want to see Jake Paul lose, certainly. But I don't think there's an insignificant number of people who want to see Jake Paul achieve those.
Everyone who's my age,
Well, up against Mike Tyson, yes, but against like Tommy Fury is a casual being like, I want to see Jake Paul. I don't think they give a shit about Tommy Fury one way or another, so they don't really care for Jake Paul to win or lose in that scenario. But putting on, there are a few names in this sport, and this weekend Jon Jones fought. I don't even think he's in this conversation, but it's Jake Paul, Conor McGregor, and maybe like one or two others that are even kind of scratching at that can put on a spectacle that just because they are fighting and it doesn't matter who, that people will tune in to watch. It's a short list. It is a very short list. And he has that ability. That's why I don't give a shit about like, I want to be a championship level boxer. You're not going to be, and I don't care about that. I care about the spectacle of what Jake Paul can bring to the sport.
This past week, he didn't say much of that. I'm sure it's part of the plans. You know, what's interesting is you talk about, you know, who wants to watch what. The best cruiserweight in the world, and that's what he is. He's a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
The best cruiserweight in the world is Jai Opetaia. I guarantee you, all these people saying, put him in there against the top 10. Let's just say top 1. The guy who has the best chance, right, to beat him. They don't know who he is, and B, they're not watching that fight.
That's right.
Jai Opetaia to them is Ryan Borland.
That's
Andre. Right. To them. To us, we'd be like, oh, fuck, sign me up. Zurdo Ramirez beat Chris Billum Smith on Saturday. That's maybe the second best cruiserweight in the world. They're not watching that fight either. They couldn't care less. But I'll tell you what they will watch. They will watch him versus Canelo, or him versus Conor McGregor, or him versus God knows who. Logan Paul. So he occupies that lane. But here's the difference between, say, Jake and KSI, if we want to go down that path. On Jake's cards, there are legitimate top boxers in the world fighting against each other with the stakes as high as can be. I have no issues with the Misfits guys. They occupy a great lane as well, but you're not getting Taylor Serrano on a Misfits card. They're open about that. You're not getting a WBC welterweight title fight on a Misfits card. You're not getting a Shushu Carrington on a Misfits card, or even on the previous iterations of the early days of Jake Paul. And there's something that needs to be said about that. It's like what I always said about CM Punk in the UFC. When CM Punk was in the UFC, he didn't take someone's spot. He created spots. He created a spotlight. And why or how people don't recognize that, the Jake, like I was saying to people who were upset about the Jake fight, turn it off after Taylor Serrano. Appreciate the fact that Taylor Serrano was viewed by 50 million households. We celebrated when 1 million viewers watched on DAZN their first fight. How could you not be happy about that? How could that not be something at least worth celebrating and honoring and at least acknowledging? But for some reason, people can't do it. And I know what people are probably going to say. You're shilling, you're in his pocket. I've never been paid by MVP. I've never been paid by Jake Paul. I will never get paid by Jake Paul. I will never get paid by MVP. Am I on the broadcast? Yes, but I'm getting paid by DAZN, by Showtime, by Netflix, etc. I've gone into open fights with Jake Paul. Could not care less. If they never want to have me on it again, God bless. I've told them I don't want to work certain things. I've turned down certain things, and on it goes. Y'all could believe what you want. But if you are not acknowledging that at least opportunities are being given to some of the best boxers, pure boxers in the world as a result of these spectacles, then you're just hating. You're just hating for the sake of hating. And I don't know why. Are you hating? Is our audience hating because he is anti-UFC? Is that what it is? Or he's anti-Dana White? Is that what it is? I don't know if he's anti-UFC per se, but just like anti the business or anti the UFC brass. I don't know. But that to me is the most befuddling part of all of this. GC, your thoughts on what we saw on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I am with Rick. I think that it was a massive success from the Jake Paul business standpoint. The fight itself really wasn't entertaining in any way, shape, or form. There was no real memorable moment other than the spectacle of it itself, Mike Tyson fighting at 58 years old. And I thought the best fight on the card was Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, kind of what I thought going into it. It sort of was like what I was expecting. The co-main event was going to be the best fight of the night. The main event was going to be a spectacle. I was going to have to see what happened. And after watching it, it was lackluster. I'm glad Mike Tyson was safe. But I think you started the show asking what the biggest story of the weekend was.
Tell me.
I think we've answered it by how long we've talked about this. And also what you were saying, people coming up to you talking. I had multiple friends calling me, texting me the next day to talk about the fight. They definitely weren't doing the same with UFC 309. It really was like a cultural phenomenon, at least for the night. Everything on social media was going insane. So yeah, I mean, thoughts on the fight itself? It was incredibly underwhelming. There really were no memorable moments from it. I won't really look back on it. There's no chance I ever rewatch it. But in terms of Netflix making its debut in the world of boxing, I felt was very significant, and just the spectacle that was put on and how many eyeballs got on it was significant.
It felt to me the first time since Mayweather-McGregor that everyone was watching a singular fight.
My brother has purchased 2 pay-per-views. He is not a combat sports fan. Purchased 2 pay-per-views in his life. I guess only one.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, and then he asked me who was going to win the fight on Friday, and he was going to a watch party to watch Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
There it is. So to me, it felt, and maybe prior to that was Mayweather-Pacquiao, but honestly, Mayweather-Pacquiao felt like it was huge for the combat sports world. Mayweather-McGregor felt a little bit bigger. It broke through, and obviously MMA and boxing coming together. This, I mean, again, I'm just blown away by, moms, friends who never couldn't care less, and that's a small sample size. Teachers in my kids' school, just the reach, phenomenal. And let's be honest, the vast majority of that reach is because of Mike Tyson, because of what he has meant to sports in the world and in America in particular, and because of Netflix. Netflix just promoting it, having it up there, definitely helps. Gigantic deal. And so let's talk about the main event. What is the conclusion? Because I will admit, if you notice in the post-fight interview, I wanted to be respectful towards Mike. And so that's why I asked Jake, did you try to knock him out? That was my way of saying, did you carry him? And after the fight, I will tell you that I spoke to some people close, and I said, did you guys carry him? And the response that I got was, something like that, Okay. And then Jake goes to the press conference and essentially says he saw that he was hurt and, out of respect. He kind of admits it, right? And so what do you guys ultimately feel? Eric, let me ask you this. What do you feel like he ultimately did? Do you feel like he was carrying him from the jump? Do you feel like he saw midway through that nothing was really going to hurt him, so he took his foot off the gas? Do you think that that's all hogwash? I mean, Dana yesterday said he didn't think he carried him. He's just not good enough to beat him, and the carrying is an excuse for not being able to finish a 58-year-old man. What do you think?
I think he probably went in with the intention of testing it out. I think if Mike Tyson was capable of putting Jake Paul in more danger and actually made him use his reflexes and react to something, there's a chance he might have tried to knock him out. As it played out, there was no opportunity. Like, Mike Tyson was not going to threaten Jake Paul in any way. He looked old. He looked slow. He was not there to compete. It was not going to be a competitive fight. And so it's easy for Jake Paul to kind of pick his spots and then not press it further. There were many opportunities where I felt like if he, after the punch that was the strongest, followed up with additional shots in the same way that if Mike Perry was in there against him and trying to hurt him, he would have to fire a response back. He could have. He did not, and I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that. Like, if you came into this expecting a competitive fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, you were starting at the wrong place. Your objective feeling on it was in an incorrect spot that you were never going to get what you wanted. Mike Tyson was not capable of that, just flatly. That is what we were. If you wanted to see Mike turn back the clock and catch him, that was going to happen in the first 30 seconds or not at all. So again, if you're adjusting your expectations there, it wasn't there for him. Mike Tyson was not capable of competing with Jake Paul on that night, and I think most kind of knew that. I will say maybe it's most who are tuned into the combat world, because I had enough friends, as I said, throughout the week texting me like, Mike's going to kill him based on the rhetoric and based on the things that the clips, but it just was never going to happen.
I actually gave Mike the first 2 rounds, but again, you'll never know, was Jake giving him the rounds, as people have suggested. Floyd gave Conor the early rounds in their fight. I just felt maybe the last 2 or 3 rounds, he went easy on him. He took his foot off the gas. And I didn't need to see, Mike looked very stiff and his legs looked very weak. And he walked in there with a with a knee brace. And he kept biting his glove. And that was a little bit awkward. And I know, as Morrow said, he's done that in the past. I don't recall it being that much. And then you find out, what he posted on social media on Saturday. We do have the post right here. This is one of those situations where you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time. So I guess he's he's rethought that stance. I almost died in June, he wrote. I had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in hospital and had to fight to get healthy to fight, so I won. And there are legitimate questions that should be asked of the Texas Commission and of everyone involved as to how they got over that, how they got over those hurdles, those health hurdles. To have my children, he continues, see me stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half my age in front of a packed Dallas Cowboy Stadium is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. Thank you. And so great stuff there. I think everyone loves Mike, his transformation from, being a convicted rapist in the 90s to now is unbelievable. I don't think anyone could have predicted that. And what a journey and what an icon he is. But in the end, I thought he obviously looked very old. I have no interest in seeing him fight again. And I do believe that it is a little bit more competitive if it's the Mike Tyson of 2020, November of 2020, fighting on Friday as opposed to the one that we saw on Friday. Do you guys remember how he looked against Roy Jones? And I know Roy Jones is older as well, but he moved much better in that fight. And just, he maybe wasn't as built as and cut as he was, because he was very impressive on weigh-in day, but I thought he was just a lot smoother and fluid and looked more like his old self. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. 4 years is a lot of time, but it's even more time when you're 58. When the end of that 4 years is 58.
And going through what he just went through apparently in June. In the end, though, there's nothing that I could say in defense of the entertainment value that fight was. I can't defend it. It's just some of the other stuff about we were conned, or shame on boxing, or shame on this, shame on that. I'm I
don't think that's part of the play, though, Aaron. I don't think that's part of the whole thing. The Jake Paul thing.
Yeah, maybe
outrage is the currency of this.
Yeah.
Had everyone just been finished off and been going, geez, that was a very competitive fight. Well done, lads. Jake, you edged the decision there. Well done.
Or if he straight sparked Mike Tyson, is everybody cheering?
No, this would be way worse.
No, but outrage, we have to remember, is a key component of this from the day it was announced. I don't think Jake Paul's sitting at home looking at these tweets going, oh no, Dave Portnoy didn't like it. Dave Portnoy's talking about me fighting. All of these people are talking about Jake Paul. That is a different thing than what we do here in sport. We have to remember that. This is currency in his world, and he's fucking rich now because everybody has a take. All these people who are upset about it, he's probably plotting what way can I spark this kind of conversation online again? He's not unhappy about this in any way, shape, or form. This is essentially what we were being sold.
I'm all for a critical analysis of saying, is there a problem with the industry? Is there a problem with all of combat sports in the sense that entertainment has become more of the conversation than competitive fighting? I'm okay with that. I'm okay if we were to have that larger discussion.
That's not true, right?
I'm not suggesting one is true or not true. I'm just saying if that is the conversation to have, I'm okay with that being the conversation. But the fight by fight analysis of that, I think is just misguided. I would argue Stipe Miocic didn't belong in a cage with Jon Jones on Saturday. Do we have to then have a critical discussion of the UFC's entire business based on that? No. There is an entertainment component and there is a competitive fighting component. Those two things exist. If for one individual person's tastes, one is more important than the other, and they've missed the mark on which one for that individual fight, I suggest not watching. To me, the entertainment value, the spectacle of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is up here, and the competitive boxing is far, far, far down the scale at the very bottom. If somebody is suggesting that they don't want to watch it on that basis, don't. That's my feeling. I would say that it was equally a mismatch, Jon Jones versus Stipe. Maybe not equally, but a significant mismatch, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Do we now have to go forward and say, is the UFC more of an entertainment product than a competitive product? No, because next weekend we'll get a competitive fight between two top-ranked contenders. There is a sliding scale of these things. Not every single fight is going to be that. If you had expectations that Mike Tyson was going to be competitive with Jake Paul at 58 years old, you fucked up. Period.
I got
That's
a bridge
it.
to sell you.
Yeah.
It might have been PT who tweeted this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone tweeted it, and I don't remember who. But you know what? I think it was actually Jedi Goodman who tweeted it. Our guy. He essentially said, Jake Paul didn't create the circus. He's just adding to the circus.
That's right.
Like this idea that he created this or turned boxing into a circus is absurd. And last thing I'll say on this before we move on to 309. Again, if the card was him versus Tyson, Holyfield Lewis, Gronk Shaq, Nate Robinson against Darren Williams, you could say like that was a black eye on boxing. In the end, Netflix got into combat sports, showed Taylor Serrano 2 to the world, a fight that, I have the program down here of the first fight. That's how much the first fight, means to me and how much I adore it. And both of them deserve our respect from now until the end of time. We got some other great fights. And shout out to that crowd at AT&T Stadium. They showed up early. Like, I've been to T-Mobile where there's 1,000 people for the co-main event. There were 1,000 people when Tank Davis fought in the quote-unquote co-main on Mayweather McGregor. Look at this. This is for Tyson. But like that thing was full. In the end, they said 72,000. There was a smattering up at the top, but that thing was packed. It was absolutely jam-packed. How they got there, God bless them. And the amount of celebs and the amount of people there. I got to meet the governor, guys. I got to meet Governor Abbott. Did you know that he's in a wheelchair? Someone said, you want to meet Governor Abbott? I said, absolutely. Let me just grab my red hat real quick. Just kidding. Just kidding. And I said to him, he said, where do you live, son? I was like, I live in New York. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, no state taxes here. I was like, wow, that's a good sell. I appreciate that, Governor Abbott. That's the kind of people that were there in attendance. And those people got to see Taylor Serrano in person and are now talking about them and maybe looking them up and maybe going back to watch their first fight. So that is pretty significant. And that to me was the story of Saturday, that, Tyson Paul was on the marquee, but hopefully you came early enough to see at least those two warriors go toe-to-toe. And hopefully you said to yourself, you know what? Not only is boxing a thing that I need to watch more, women's boxing is a thing that I need to watch more. That to me was what I walked away with. And I was so happy, and obviously happy that, the main event didn't end in some kind of tragedy or disaster, because that was on the table. That was on the table.
I hope I'm clear on what I'm trying to say. Every Jake Paul fight seems to be some kind of indictment on like, is this Jake Paul? None of this is specific to Jake Paul. This is the entirety of combat sports. We have to make these kind of like excuses. Oh, well, if you tuned in for the disaster, the abject disaster that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, you also got Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. I don't think Jake Paul needs to have these excuses. Like, this is all of combat sports. The UFC puts on some things that are more spectacle than combat. The UFC puts on some things that are high combat and low spectacle. That's just what this is. Other boxing promotions, nobody is under the same microscope that Jake Paul is under. And I feel like it's a bit unfair, if I'm being honest. It just feels like everything with him has to be some indictment on exactly what he's doing when he's doing what everybody else is doing. There's just different degrees to it.
I love when you see like the Bellews or the Carl Froches of the world being like, you scaredy cat, you would never dare step foot in me. All they want is they want
the clout that they're claiming that he's after. They want the same clout. Everybody.
They're not trying, they won't get $40 million, but they would do anything for a $5 million payday. You wouldn't dare. You're not man enough.
Not even showed at the press conference with Paddy Power, a betting company.
Tony Bellew, God bless him, in one breath is saying this guy isn't worth our time and shame on anyone who watches. The dude literally flew from the UK to Texas for that 1 minute little thing and obviously got paid for it. And guess what? Paddy Power ain't paying you to show up and crash any other press conference. So do you see the hypocrisy? While everyone is saying this isn't worth our time, they're profiting off of it. They're trying to, attach themselves to it. They're trying to pick a fight so they could be the next one to get the lottery ticket. Like, spare me the sanctimonious bullshit. Let's talk about Saturday. 309 Madison Square Garden. As Rick said, very one-sided. I was blown away by Jon Jones. And I'll tell you what, right here and now, after the Ciryl Gane fight, and we keep blurring the lines here between GOAT and pound-for-pound best right now, no one is denying the fact that Jon Jones, if everything is allowed, no PD infractions can remove you from the conversation. Jon Jones has the best resume, is the best fighter in the history of mixed martial arts. No one will ever argue that. If anyone's arguing that, they're a complete buffoon. The argument is he the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world? Dana White said that after Gane. All right, fine. He kept banging the drum. And he said on Saturday, as long as this man is active, he's number one pound-for-pound. Again, I think he's still confusing the two, but he says as long as he's active. And therein lies the rub. He wasn't active for a year and a half. As far as the rankings are concerned, in my opinion, if you're not active for a year and a half, you get removed. Champion, non-champion, it doesn't matter. He comes back on Saturday, and he does that against Stipe. You're now in the conversation. And now I think there's a serious conversation to be had. Now I do accept if you want to vote him as number one pound for pound, because it was that dominant. It was that one-sided. He made Stipe Miocic look old, look slow. I saw people saying that he looked old and slow. No. Jon made him look old and slow. Jon made him look a massive step below him. Jon was fantastic. That fight impressed me a hell of a lot more than the Ciryl Gane fight. To a degree, I felt like Gane didn't show up. Stipe showed up. He was as laser focused as can be and had nothing for Jon. He maybe had like an uppercut in the second round, and that was it. It was a 10-8 first round. It was a beautiful trip. It was elbows from freaking the depths of hell, not up there, down here. And it was as vicious of a first round. Like, we never see Stipe get manhandled like that. Even when he lost to DC or Francis, those are moments. But he has his moments. He had no moments in this fight. Second round, 10-9 Jon. And then third round, the spinning back kick to the body, vicious. Just crumpled him. And so, yeah, you can now make the case that he is number one pound for pound. I will accept it. Am I voting for it? Probably still going for Pereira based on what he's done. But I don't think it's as crazy. And I certainly would put him above Islam Makhachev now, to be honest. I think it's that valid. It was supremely impressive to see him at heavyweight do that against Stipe. 40-something or not, 3-year layoff or not, that's still Stipe Miocic. It was a one-sided beatdown. One-sided. And afterwards, of course, look, that was one of Jon's best fight weeks ever. One of his best fight weeks ever on so many levels. Number one, the performance was fantastic. He showed up, he was a star, Madison Square Garden, getting to fight in his home state for the first time. Like, it checked off all the boxes. The way he handled the Tom Aspinall thing from beginning to end was fantastic as well. Playing the heel or not, we could debate all that bullshit all day long. He's dismissing him, he's pushing him away, he's hardly even saying his name, he's calling him an asshole, he's saying he's disrespectful. That only makes us want to see the fight more. It's like in pro wrestling. When Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant fought, they never touched each other until WrestleMania 3, until they were in that ring at the Pontiac Silverdome. And by the time that bell rang, the whole world was waiting for them to touch each other. And that's what he's doing. He's distancing Tom, knowingly or not, I don't know. I'm actually going to give him the credit. I think he's being very smart and calculated about this, because I think he is extremely smart and calculated. It's only making us want that fight more. It's only making Tom a bigger babyface. It's only making us look at photos like this one, shot by the great Chris Unger of Getty Images, and say, fuck yeah, give me that fight. And let me tell you what, in combat sports right now, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, influencer boxing, I don't care what it is, pro wrestling, anything. There's no fight that I want to see more than Jones Aspinall. 2025, Jones Aspinall. Dana says biggest heavyweight fight. I don't know. Who knows? Probably in this day and age, with the money that the UFC is generating, with the gates, with the attendance, it probably ends up being that. I don't know if culturally it is what maybe like Brock Lesnar, Frank Mir was, number 2, but it's gigantic. Give me this freaking fight. Give me this freaking fight. Because of the way Jon has built it up. Tom has done his part. But if Jon would have just sat there all week and said, yeah, I'll see, he's the interim champ, yeah, it should be fun, it doesn't feel the same. Jon pushing it away, calling him an asshole, saying that I might retire if it comes down to it, saying, give me FU money, saying, I prefer the Pereira fight, I'll even drop the belt because I'd rather the Pereira fight, only makes us want to see it more. Only makes us want to see it more. And Tom has done his part. He shows up. He's got the duck. He's got the shirts. He's saying what he needs to say. But Jon was phenomenal all week. Even the part with the gloves. Oh, it had nothing to do with me. But I like them better. And then like, look how clunky the whole glove thing was. Oh, they tell everyone on Monday. And they actually tell Stipe on Monday. They tell the fighters on Tuesday. They tell them it's just going to be for the next 2 pay-per-views, including Saturdays. Then they come out on Thursday and say they're gone forever, the new gloves. Then they come out on the broadcast on Saturday and say, okay, it's going to be pay-per-views, old gloves, new gloves on fight night. And then on the post-fight press conference, Dana says it's an inventory thing. And by the time 2025 rolls along, we'll go back to the old gloves. The whole thing seems very last minute. Make no mistake about it. There is no doubt in my mind. Jon Jones said, I don't like the gloves. I'm not wearing them. They oblige. And then they saw the backlash. They saw the response and said, you know what? Let's just get rid of these things. No one likes them. And thank the high heavens, thank the MMA gods, those disgusting gold gloves are out the window. I hate those things. They're disgusting. They're awful. They're an eyesore. No one wanted them. They looked like superheroes wearing them. Go back to the old ones. They tried. They failed. whatever. It would be nice if they could be a little more curved so that we can, stop eye pokes from happening as often. But, people were saying they're stopping knockouts, all this stuff. Who the hell knows the ultimate reason? But I do know for sure what sparked all of this was Jon saying he didn't like him. And just look how he's handling that with the smile on his face. Oh, man, I really didn't like him. And I was so happy that Hunter, he is playing all of this perfectly. He is playing all of this perfectly. And so give it to us. Next summer, Allegiant Stadium, freaking T-Mobile, I don't care. I don't care. It sounds like Dana doesn't want to go to a stadium, and who cares? With the prices, with the tickets, with the gates, they could do it at T-Mobile, and everyone will be very happy. Aspinall, Jones, Aspinall, that is the fight. And please, Rick, don't tell me Pereira versus Jones is as interesting. Not with that trip. Not with that ground and pound. You can't tell me with the buildup, with the animosity. That felt like Jones DC. The way he speaks about Aspinall, the last time we heard Jon talk about someone like that, with that type of tension and animosity, was DC. He didn't feel that way towards Anthony Smith or even Dominic Reyes or Thiago Santos. It was Daniel freaking Cormier. That's what I feel in my bones when I feel the build up to this. You can't tell me that friendly, I just want to test myself against another 37-year-old gets you as hyped as what transpired over the past week.
I already wanted to see Tom versus Jon more. That was my number one out of those rankings. I would settle for Tom versus Alex second to that. The gap has now significantly widened. And because of what you said, I think Jon Jones did the best endorsement he could do for that fight this week by turning it down, by saying, I don't want to fight Tom, by doing all the things to make you want it more. He has now put a gap between that. I maintain on a poster to sell to a casual fan, Alex versus Jon will do better and will look better and will get more buys. I want to see Tom versus Jon more. And I already did, but now the gap is pretty massive.
Yo, did you see that pop at the press conference?
Yeah.
When
it was Tom friendly over there.
Yo, and like I said on Saturday night, it wasn't like it was a UK crowd. They weren't in Manchester. They weren't in London. Michael Bisping wasn't fighting on the main card, so a bunch of his fans were there. Dana White is asked, if Jon wins, are you doing the Aspinall fight? And he says yes. And it's like, you know what it looked like, PT? It looked like Ali Pally celebrating Luke Littler's win, right? Everyone's dancing in there for Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, a year ago, he gets put on this card and no one bats an eye. And now they're dancing in the stands for Tom Aspinall, at least verbally being told that he's going to be next for Jon. The big thing, though, is Jon says in the post-fight press conference, give me FU money. And you know what I was happy about? I was happy, PT, that he said all of that because throughout the week, it was, he's an asshole. I don't want to fight him. He's younger than me. He's bigger than me. All this stuff, which none of it is really significant because, yeah, he's younger, but like they're pretty much the same weight and blah, blah, blah. But I'm happy that he went back to the Francis story, right? Because it's about the money.
I've been saying this for a very long time. I think we're hurtling towards the same situation.
Yes.
Dana White smiled, I thought, which was quite funny when the press put to him, he said he wants fuck you money then, and then it's like, oh, he's gonna get it, and you're like, well, I really hope he does. I agree with everything you said about Jon. I was captivated by him all week, and will he or won't he? Like watching everything he's doing, like what is he saying? I am not as far down the road with it as you seem to be. I think this is all for nothing if we don't get the payoff, if we don't get that fight, and until I hear a date, I will wait to cast my judgment on how brilliant that sell was from Jones, because ultimately if the fight doesn't happen, it means nothing. As far as his fight, so dynamic for a heavyweight like that. And look, I agree with the people who say Stipe didn't offer much, but I also agree with you that his body work in the early rounds really made him redundant. He even if you're going in as fit as a fiddle and your body's hitting that way, it's going to take away from your performance considerably, and I think that's what happened. One thing I said, I text Tom, I think it was Friday after the press conference, and I said, this is going great. And he said to me, I'm not doing anything. and I can remember 2 years ago, and I agree with him, like, no, you aren't doing anything. Yeah. You're right, Tom. 2 years ago, no, about a year ago, I was speaking to his dad, Andy, and there was this love in for Pereira, which has continued to this day. And he was kind of saying to me, like, is Tom not doing exactly what this guy is doing and nobody is like reacting to it? Like he's saving cards too. He's knocking people out, all this stuff. And I said to him at the time, I said, You work for your reputation, and then your reputation works for you. And I think on Thursday, before that press conference, when that crowd kicked off, that just came into my head. And I texted that to Tom on Friday. I said, you work for your reputation, and then your reputation works for you. And that's exactly what happened on Friday. It's a brilliant fight. It's let's not forget that the UFC had let a fight of this magnitude with Ngannou and Jones slip between their fingers. They should get paid really well for this. Jon Jones, Dana White's the guy up there telling us this is the greatest fighter who ever lived. Well, let's pay him like that then. All right? Let's break every record you have, and that's what he'll come looking for. He's said as much. I want ridiculous money. Let him get the ridiculous money. If this fight is as big as Dana White says it is, they're going to make plenty of it back. It will be an outrageous success. So pay the man what he needs to make this fight happen. And look, I think Tom beats Jon Jones, but he certainly planted some doubt with that display over Stipe because it was tremendous for a heavyweight. Take Stipe out of the equation. For a guy that weight to be moving like that, that's why we love Tom. That's why we've said about Tom since he came to this division. There's no one that moves like this guy. He moves like a cat. Granted, Jon might not be as quick as Tom, but the dynamic display we've seen, it's rarely seen at heavyweight, from grappling to striking. I'd was spellbinding.
I'd say never.
Yeah.
Dana always talks about his fight IQ. We've never seen a heavyweight move like that. Like throw the arsenal that he threw at Stipe.
Yes,
we didn't really get
dynamic.
to see Jon Jones heavyweight against Ciryl Gane because it was so quick, and that was to his credit to a degree. But I do think that Ciryl didn't really show up. To see those kicks, to see that ground and pound, to see that kind of wrestling from Jon Jones.
The ankle pick?
Oh
That's
my God.
crazy. What are you doing?
He was fantastic. He was phenomenal. And Dana says biggest fight of all time. He says biggest heavyweight fight of all time. So then you need to get paid.
Biggest purse of all time. Biggest purse of all time, if that's to say. Let's do it. Let's not have this thing play out. And
It's going to play out, by the way.
Now.
It's going to play out.
I've said this for a year. I know it's going to. I fucking look at every show. I've said it every fucking time. But what I'll say to the fans is, this is on you, because this is a PR game now. This is a PR game. And when Dana White says one of these guys is holding up the fight, he doesn't want that fight, have better judgment. Think about what's happened here. They've set the table. We know what needs to happen. The only thing that needs to happen now is for these guys to get paid. Tom probably should be, fighting his corner a bit harder and that. Like, he won't care. He'll sign whatever. Jon Jones has said this is the stipulation. So please be aware of it. If this fight isn't booked, that is what's happening.
And by the way, that's exactly what happened for the Ngannou fight. I went through the clips, and Ngannou was Tom. He was literally Tom saying, I'm good to go in the summer. Just give me the fight. It was the exact same thing. Now, let's see what happens. Maybe they right the wrong. Maybe they feel like they could get it done. Who knows? But I will say this, Pizzi. When he said, fuck you money, I was like, oh, are we going down? Are we going down the, like, give me 30 million? Because they're not going to do it. You know they're not going to do it. They're not going to give him that money. And so there's a part of me that's a little bit concerned. And I'm concerned because I want this fight so badly. I don't feel... There was a part of me thinking... So I think we can all agree that Jon would take the fight if he's paid. And I think we could all agree that, Jon saying that he was going to retire and all that. Like, this is all part of the negotiation. This is all part of what he's trying to put out there. But I believe Jon 1,000% that he wants to get paid an exorbitant amount, whatever that number is. And if he doesn't, he has no problem sitting at home or giving up the belt, which is what he did, 4 or so years ago, 4.5 years ago. Jon Jones isn't foaming at the mouth to fight Tom Aspinall. It's the opposite, right? Tom wants Jon. The fans want Tom versus Jon. He couldn't care less. If the byproduct of this fight is getting paid a boatload, he's in. And so he's just going to sit back. And he's 100% right what he said at the press conference. The strongest position to be in when you're negotiating is being willing to walk away. I think he is being 1,000% truthful with us there. And that worries me. That worries me because we saw this 4 years ago. In the end, I still think it happens because I don't think the UFC wants this egg on their face twice. But I am worried about it actually happening because of the fuck you money line. When I heard that, I was like, now he's being truthful. It's not just about, he's 7 years younger or, he's bigger. It's about the money. And we saw this once, not that long ago. There's no reason to believe the same story won't play out all over again. And that would be very unfortunate. What do you think, GC? Does it happen? What are you feeling?
We said on Saturday night, I think it's going to happen. The fact that Dana White confidently said he was just like, he'll get compensated makes me believe that it happens. And to y'all's point, I think despite Aspinall not really doing anything other than just being around this week, like I think the way Jones handled everything, like it has built this fight into like this is what people want to see. I was walking around the office today, got the Aspinall hoodie on, and some guy came up to me and was like, "Oh, the Aspinall, that's the one people want Bones to fight." I was just like, "Yeah, you didn't know who he was last week?" He's just like, "Nope, never heard of him." And like the way Tom, like he got the UFC 309 reaction vlog out the very next morning, like he's responding to Jon Jones on YouTube. It's doing incredible numbers for his channel. Like it now feels like there has been a mega shift to like, this is the fight people want to see. This is the fight Dana wants to see. And Dana is willing to meet the numbers and make it happen.
The BMF idea is ludicrous. Like, what are we talking about here?
All right, listen, we don't need to bring the BMF belt into this. I know
when he came out with that last week, I was like, what are we doing?
But it all feels like trolling. When at one point he was just like, I think I want to fight Jamal Hill, who has no plans of moving up to heavyweight, or maybe Lewis. A Derek Lewis. Yeah. Like, it's just like, be serious, John. Like, I know you're trolling at this point, but like, be serious. He
does it with a bit of a smile on his face and that tone where you're like,
Jamal Hill one. I was like, dude, he's at light heavyweight and he has no plans of coming up to heavyweight. Like, stop.
Jamal's like, fire up the camera in the basement. I need to make a 19-minute video about this. This is my chance. Here's the bottom line is, if he doesn't do it for whatever reason, economics, doesn't want to do it, he cannot still be heavyweight champion, right?
No. Well, the ball's not in his court, as it has never been. The ball is not in his court. It never was in his court. They have not presented to him a fight against Alex Pereira. They have not presented to him a fight against Tom Aspinall. They have not presented terms on what they're going to pay him for the next fight that he has. The ball has always been in the UFC's court, no matter what Jon said. Jon can talk about fighting Jamal Hill all he wants. Ultimately, UFC is not going to put a Jamal Hill fight on his table. They're going to put a Tom Aspinall fight on his table. What is the price tag that they attach to it is going to determine whether that fight happens or not. The same way they wanted to put a Francis Ngannou fight on his table, and the price tag was something for that. The same way they put that same offer on Francis Ngannou's table, and the price tag was something for that. We keep talking about what Jon wants and all these forecasting, and clearly Tom wants this fight. The UFC is going to have to attach a price to this fight, and it is going to be presented to Jon Jones, and he's going to have a decision to make. He's going to decide if he wants to fight for that price or not. He's going to be able to negotiate, and ultimately, this fight will be dependent on whether the UFC pays Jon Jones enough money to fight Tom Aspinall. It has always been, and it will continue to be. Ultimately, I'm semi-confident that they will come to the table with it, but I do fear that they're going to get to an amount of money in the negotiations where they fear they're setting a bad precedent and have to pay fighters more commensurate with what the Conor McGregors of the world are getting than what the rest of the roster is getting, and I'm not sure they will get there. I'm not 100% confident.
What do you think? What is your ultimate feeling?
I don't think the fight will happen.
What do you think, PT?
Oh, I just didn't like the way Rick answered that there. I thought we're all trying to be happy and fucking geez.
They had the chance to make this fight with Francis Ngannou. The fight did not happen. I'm not confident it will happen.
They want to right
Aspinall.
The wrong now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they view it as a wrong.
I don't think they view it as a wrong.
Before we get to this,
as a wrong.
Do our pick, all right, and whether it happens or not. I talked about Chuck with this on Thursday's episode of The Crack. It was fantastic. I'm sure
it was a great one.
Chuck believes, and I tend to agree after hearing him out, that Jones, as solidified and fortified as this man's legacy is, this will be an asterisk on it if he does not fight Tom Aspinall. And this is a separate issue from the light heavyweight run and all of these champions he's absolutely decimated, Stipe included. This right now, if he does not fight Tom, the rightful #1 contender to this heavyweight belt, will this heavyweight element of his career be looked at with an asterisk on it, Ariel?
Because of Francis Ngannou, because of Tom Aspinall, I do think so, yes. I do think that Jon's legacy is a very complicated one, right? Because of everything that's happened, because of the PED, because of the pinch of salt in the Olympic pool, and he still maintains that, he's, even dating back to the Matt Hamill quote-unquote loss, right? There's so much complexity to his career, but there's brilliance as well. When you open the book, and now we get the heavyweight, and you're telling your kids about it, you're like, all right, buckle up for this one, because this one is a little bit weird. Beginning with the Dominic Reyes fight, beginning with the COVID times, beginning with the Gane fight, and fighting Gane and not Ngannou, and then this. This could help not erase what happened in the last 2 years or so, But it does help in the end saying, like, you know what, he didn't fight Ngannou for whatever reason. Maybe the UFC is to blame. But he did fight Tom Aspinall, who was younger. But if he didn't fight Ngannou and Aspinall as a heavyweight, how could you call yourself undisputed?
Okay, but can we say this is dependent upon Tom Aspinall continuing to be Tom Aspinall, right? We have to acknowledge that. I think
it's right now.
That kind of goes out
right
the window.
Now.
That goes out the window when we talk about this conversation. We talk about the Canelo versus Mayweather. If Canelo does not become Canelo, that fight isn't viewed the same way. This is dependent upon Tom continuing
But right now,
to
in
be
this
Tom.
moment in time, the number one guy, the one that the world wants to see him fight against,
right? But
is
we're
Tom
not going to
Aspinall.
view it in that window when we're 10 years down the line. If we're 10 years down the line and Tom Aspinall loses his next 3 fights,
Sure.
it will not be that.
No, but
it will not be a stain on his resume. It will not matter.
Well, first of all, last week I talked about this, and I said that I do think Tom ends up being that guy, and I do think this stain will grow if he doesn't fight him. So, but we can only wait and see. I'm just saying, when you're writing the book, I'm not talking about how this will age. I'm saying, if you go back in time to November of 2024 / early 2025, and this fight slips through the cracks and he vacates the title and walks away, that should be noted. In the end, does it become just a footnote? Perhaps. But right now, it's a huge freaking deal. And it's going to take 2 to tango here. He is saying that he's open, but he wants the FU money. The UFC has to determine what that price tag is. Now, we all think that they can afford it and then some. But it's, do they want to set that precedent? Because then what happens for the next fight and the next fight and the next fight if he sticks around for 3-4 fights? Dana White says at the post-fight press conference, he'll get paid. Don't worry about it. But Dana White's, his ideas as to what that means, as opposed to what Jon's ideas as to what that means, they seem to be in a good place right now, so maybe that helps, are 2 very, very different things. And so I'm not 1,000% confident. I'm confident that Jon is open to it. I'm obviously confident that Tom wants it. I'm confident that the UFC wants it. Can they come to terms? Now it's going to be that thing. He's even talking about negotiations in the cage on Saturday. In the cage, he brought up the negotiations. And there is a case to be made that, like, hey, he has a contract with the UFC, but those days are over. The days of them just being like, your next fight is against this guy are over. That was once a thing like 10 or so years ago, but the fighters have smartened up. I believe we have a super chat pertaining to this subject, Frank.
We certainly do. So I wanted to read that out here. Give me 1 second. It says, from Alexander Hurst, it says, if Jones doesn't get the fuck you money at UFC, could he end up leaving and we get Ngannou versus Jones?
No, because he's not a free agent. It is worth noting that Francis Ngannou only has 1 PFL fight left. So, could it happen in that regard? Maybe, but Dana White has already told us he's not doing any business with the UFC. Excuse me, with Francis Ngannou in the UFC. But Jon isn't leaving. Jon is not walking away. They've got him locked up and for a considerable amount of time. Good point here from our good friend Ant Evans, who's a part of the team. Dana White spent $30 million or so on the Sphere show. Now, not all of that money was out of his pocket. Of course, some of that came from Riyadh. But do you think Turkey wants to be a part of this? I'd say so. How's he going to tell Jon that he doesn't have $15 million for the biggest fight ever? Him saying and it's a great point, him saying it's the biggest fight ever, is a negotiation.
His mouth, yeah.
Well, for Jon, it's like, you said it yourself. It's the biggest fight ever. And what was the gate on Saturday? Like 18 million for a Jon Jones fight. Now I know MSG, whomever's fighting, is going to sell a lot, but that's pretty damn significant. And what's the rest?
Deontay Wilder money.
What's the rest of the card going to look like? It's not going to be, it's not going to be freaking Izzy and Islam and Alex Pereira on there. They'll put they'll put a couple of top 15 guys in the co-main event, and no one will bat an eye. They could easily not only afford this, but profit off of it and then some. So it's not an issue where it's like, hey man, he priced himself out. Like, no. You guys you're doing just fine. You're having your greatest run ever financially. This is very easy to get over the hump. Here's the thing. Jon knows this. He's aware of all of this. And so he's going to ask for probably more than Deontay money. I don't know. He's going to ask for Canelo money. If Jon comes back and says, give me 65 or something like that million, it does bring up the classic Dana White line that he said so many times, like, yeah, everyone could say they want to fight, but if you throw out a crazy number knowing that we won't meet it, then do you really want the fight? So let's find out. But something tells me this is going to be very reminiscent of 4 years ago. It feels like we are going down that path.
Quick question from Frank. Oh, go ahead, Pizzi.
Sorry, just one, because it pertains to the super chat we were just asked about. That is another element to this that I think helps Jones and Aspinall. Dana does not want Francis Ngannou's name to be uttered in this conversation whatsoever. And let's not forget, that's the one, right? We've cited it so many times. That's the one that got away. And there has been talk all year about potentially Turkey bringing Ngannou to the table with the UFC. Can he make this happen? That kind of puts more of an onus on Dana to make Aspinall v. Jones, so we can say, this is the one everyone wants. Don't mind that guy. Francis Ngannou, nobody cares. This is the real fight. Everybody knows this is the real fight. So I think that kind of pushes him towards, gives him an impetus to make this fight happen as well.
By the way, if Turkey says to them, here's a $50 million check, dude, in Saudi next year. Like, there's no reason. The money is there. The money and then some is there. You don't think Turkey wants this fight in Saudi?
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
He loves it.
They would sign up for that. They would do that tomorrow for FU money. They will gladly contribute to that FU money.
Whole check. They'll pay his whole check if they were to get that fight. Come on.
And they'll get the credit for it.
Piss.
They'll get the credit. Yeah. They made it happen. And then we'll get the Francis fight. And so ultimately, I don't know how this all plays out. What I do know is if they can't come to terms, if he chooses to fight someone else, he can't be heavyweight champ anymore. He just can't. And I'm happy
he agrees with that, though.
It's to a degree. I mean, I think he kind of, says a lot of things. The fact that he said, I'll fight him for FU money keeps the door open. If he would have shut the door and said on Saturday, I'm not entertaining this. You can ask me about Tom a million different ways. I will never fight that guy. I would have come here on Monday saying he should be stripped. You can't not fight the number one contender who is also the interim champion. You can't do that. Like that time-honored tradition in our business. You got to do the job. You got to fight that next guy the same way all those other guys fought him. But he left the door open. So good on you. Now we have to see how it plays out.
I think if the Saudi money comes in, it's the cleanest way to do this. Because if you're Jon Jones...
It's not the UFC setting the precedent of we're breaking the bank. Yeah.
It's a one-time deal, and it's also for Jon Jones, right? We don't expect that Tom Aspinall is going to be haggling over the price for this fight. I imagine, I hope he doesn't do it for free, but I imagine Tom Aspinall will fight Jon Jones for free if given the opportunity, because he wants this for more than the price tag. For Jon Jones, he's at the end of his career. It is about the money, and it should be about the money. And I think he should get his worth, as should Tom, as should every fighter. The Saudi money gives you the opportunity to say, hey, this was a one-time deal. Saudi's footing the bill. Here's how we do this. And it's not Jon Jones, every time you fight, now you make $50 million. Because I imagine that's what the UFC wants to avoid, and why Jon Jones isn't already making that. Conor McGregor exists in a universe on his own. He's the one who's the exception. Everybody else is getting paid less than they're worth, quite frankly. If they were on the open market, they'd be making more. And so it's a precedent thing. You cannot afford to pay Jon Jones that, because then Jon Jones fights again, and now you have to pay him that again. So the UFC has been very good at controlling their contracts and controlling their salaries in that way. That is why I'm not confident that this fight happens, is because you're setting a precedent. And if you pay Jon Jones what this fight is actually worth, it's going to cost them more than they might be willing to pay him for the next one.
AZ Ray writes, if Aspinall fights again, will that put more pressure on the Jones fight to happen? He cannot fight again. He cannot fight again.
Do not fight again.
That would be a very unwise business decision.
I know I'm the filthy casual here, but my question was, who does Jon, in the possibility of him losing, more to, Pereira or to Aspinall? Like, is he comfortable leaving fighting after he loses to Pereira? Because he's like, well, everyone agreed that this guy was just, a monster to deal with.
I think Jon thinks that the Pereira fight is a much better fight for him, and he's right.
He'd be a massive favorite against Pereira.
I mean, look at that takedown against Stipe. Aspinall is much better on the ground. He's obviously younger. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He is not going to get tripped and then beat up like that. And by the way, Aspinall is to a degree a work in progress still. We haven't seen the best of Tom Aspinall, in my opinion. We haven't. We haven't seen him in a 5-round war. We haven't seen him dig down deep like Jon had to do against Alexander Gustafsson. And so this is, to a degree, Canelo versus Mayweather. But I think he realizes, hey, everyone wants this. You all want this so bad. I'm not that interested. I'm not that inspired by it. So fucking pay me. He's not doing anything wrong. He should get paid. He's got an incredible resume. He's the greatest of all time. His own promoter promotes him better than he promotes any fighter on the roster, including Conor McGregor. We've never seen Dana White, as the kids like to say, glaze someone as much as he glazes Jon Jones. Jon should use that to his advantage. You keep telling everyone, I'm the greatest fighter in the history of combat sports, he said on Saturday.
The UFC YouTube channel literally dropped a video 5 hours ago. This is the greatest fighter in the UFC history. Here's why. And it's just an hour-and-a-half compilation of Jon Jones highlights.
Like, they've never done that.
Explanation or anything.
They've never done that for anyone. And there are times where we say, give us that. We want that. We want to see you promote someone in that light, not demote them or just kind of wishy-washy promote them.
I think, Frank, you're asking what's the riskier fight, right? And Tom Aspinall is the riskier fight. I think we all kind of agree on that.
Like, from a legacy standpoint, like if he fights Tommy and then loses, it's like, do you hang around or you're like, okay, I gave you what you wanted and I couldn't deliver, so I'm now giving up the belt? And
I think, as we've kind of laid out here across the whole conversation, Jon Jones' resume, you don't need to add a thing to it, in my opinion.
It's certified.
Done.
And he said that at the presser.
It's the cream of the crop. It is the pinnacle. There is not something missing from his resume. The only reason to hang on is the money, and the one that will generate the money at the moment seems to be Tom Aspinall because everybody wants that, and Dana White has forecasted that, has broadcasted rather, that he wants that. If Dana White wants that fight and doesn't want Alex Pereira, to me it's a no-brainer. Make the fight, pay for it, and get Jon Jones back in the cage.
Also, in terms of legacy at heavyweight, like you can't keep taking fights at heavyweight and it not be Tom Aspinall.
No.
Yeah. That's the thing. I've seen so many people say that, like, you know, like that it's a viable option to hold the belt and just fight Jamal Hill or whatever. That's crazy. I'd go a step further than the lads, Frank. Yeah, size-wise. As far as your question's concerned, Frank, I would go a step further than the lads. I'd say that Jon Jones hasn't entertained the idea of losing to Alex Pereira. Like,
I was wondering that too.
You just got to look at the guy this week. Like, he is so confident. Like, and it's great to see him like this. Like, that's what you want your champions to be, right? You want them to exude that regal air and have that power over a room, which he seems to have all week. I think there is an element of doubt when it comes to Tom. I wouldn't even say all that much even. Like, I think that's where Jon Jones's head's at. Like, he is unbreakable in terms of competition. Like, you heard him talking about practicing that spinning back kick that inevitably finished Stipe Miocic for 3 months. Like, this guy is, and I used to say about this about Conor when I was around him when he was on that ascent. These people are insane. You have to be insane to do this at that highest level, at that operating in that rarefied air that Jones did, that Conor did 10 years ago or whatever it was. You have to be insane. I think that's where Jones is at. And I just wanted to ask Ariel, I'm sorry to bring it back to Tyson, but just while I was talking about Jones and that regal presence, and I've been around him a few times and I felt it, and I felt it when I was around Conor when he was brilliant, and I felt it around various athletes in my time. What was it like to be around Tyson? Like, does he still, you mentioned being this close to him and you interviewing these guys after the fight and you're this close. Does he still have that aura? Because he must, if he has captivated this many people to watch this event. And I'm sorry for moving off the 309 chat here.
100%, but it's a different aura each day. Wednesday, he was sedated. Like, Wednesday, he gave us nothing. He didn't even move. I was behind him at the press conference, and it was a little underwhelming, but just him sitting there. And by the way, I mean, did we bury the lead? Can I at least get, I mean, I couldn't get credit for being on enough. Can I at least get credit for nailing Iron? I mean, did I not nail
Nailed it so much that you got it in the promo package as Tyson was about to walk.
Iron! No. Is that the new one or is that the old one?
I should get the new one.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That's the old one.
If you got the old one, you need
This is,
the baddest. I don't like doing those press conferences. I got to give myself the old Barry H for that one.
Did you give the Barry H when you're sitting in AT&T Stadium and your voice is going out?
Well, at that point, it's been 2 days of Barry H because I was like, you know what? I fucking nailed that press conference. I mean, I was freaking humming. I was going back and forth. I mean, I'm calling out Tony Bellew with the mustache and the 50 pounds.
Fisher Price
the Fisher Price.
Was a great line.
I'm threading the needle through everything. I mean, it was something.
Did you know you were going to be in the intro
No, of course not.
So,
but
I
it
mean,
was
were
that
you
damn
nice
good.
Surprised by it? Yeah.
It was that damn good. They were like, put that in there. They probably had another one. They probably had the old one from like Michael Buffer back in the day. And they put Helwani in there because that's the best. I mean, Tyson's family sent me a written note saying no one's ever said his name.
So I will actually
That
take a
good.
Barry H by extension for us shaming you so hard
yeah.
on the arm.
Win or learn.
And coaching
coached you
you
there,
yeah.
to correctly pronounce
I
out.
walked up there. I was nervous as hell as well. I'm like, please don't fuck this up. You're never going to hear the end of it.
You were only thinking about iron, correct?
I
Not
took a
anything
breath.
else.
I took a breath. And then I did it again when he came back after the intro. Now and forever, the baddest. And there was a moment where I was like, just play it safe and just go Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson.
No. Dare to be great. And dare to be great.
Iron.
That isn't in the pre-fight promo if you just say Mike
you're right.
Tyson.
You're right. It was great.
All of us in the group chat, like hopping, like, dude, he's doing it. He's doing it. I was just
yeah.
wondering if he's sitting up there. Meh, meh, meh.
It's 1,000%. Oh, yeah. No, the phone was on the thing. I saw it all.
Oh, amazing.
I saw it all.
Amazing.
So sedated, Thursday terrifying. I mean, walking up there after he slapped him, I'm walking like this. I'm like, please don't hurt me. I have no problem saying I was terrified. The look on it, I said it. It was unlike anything I've seen, not just from a fighter, but a human being. He was being surrounded by guys, and they were all locking their hands because no one knew. And by the way, no one was surrounding Jake. Everyone was just like, get the animal, right? Like he was like a caged animal who had been unleashed, and they were trying to get him back in. And so I asked him one, asked him another. He walked off, and then the Saturday version, it was Mike, but it was almost like he was relieved. You know, like even the line about I have a biting fixation. Like it was almost like he was just like, and he could make a joke, and he could be a little self-deprecating and be happy that it's over. That's the vibe. But he's Mike Tyson. He looks the same. He sounds the same. And you're in there in the ring, and there's 70,000 people, and there's Gronk right over there, and Shaq, and all these people texting you. But I'll say this to you, PT. Like I feel the same way next to Katie and Amanda, and in particular Katie, because I've been like being in the ring next to her after a fight like that, and she was holding the belts, and they had to take them off her shoulders because she was like wobbling. She was that tired and had taken some big shots. I don't know how she continues to take these shots. And there is a case to be made that maybe the end should be near because her last 4 fights now, Serrano, Cameron 1, 2, and then this one, were all incredible fights. I do want to get to a couple other of the chats. Well, this time it's Jones admitting he doesn't want to fight, and so Dana can't use that line on him again. John, and that's from Michael Carson. Push says John will want minimum $50 million to fight Tom. Shame. And then there's Khalid, who says the head of the Saudi PIF was sitting next to Trump, FYI. Yes, he was. Yasser was sitting next to him. So I don't know if that has anything to do with, making the Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones fight, but a very significant figure from that corner of the world was, in fact, sitting next to Trump and talking to him all night long. Do want to mention Charles Oliveira's win over Michael Chandler. Very dominant, 4 rounds to 1, in my opinion. Chandler gave us a great showing in the 5th, and with that performance alone may have saved the Conor fight, if it is a thing. Now Dana's saying back end of 2025. Golly, Lord help us. But I do want to ask you guys, is there an appetite? GC, I'll ask you. Do you want to see Charles Oliveira versus Islam 2 or Charles versus Arman 2, or is it the type of fight where you think it'll just be the same old thing? Like, has there been enough time between either of those initial matchups to make you really interested in the rematch?
I mean, the Arman Sarukian one, absolutely. That was such a ridiculously close fight when they met at UFC 300. And if Charles performs the way that he performed in the first 4 rounds of that Michael Chandler fight, like Chandler had essentially nothing to offer him for the first 4 rounds. He was beating him up on the feet. He was taking him down and immediately getting his back, controlling him, landing big shots. Like he dominated those first 4 rounds. And I don't know who else it would be in the lightweight division at this point if it isn't Charles. I mean, I think he deserves winner of Islam Sarukian. And to ask if I would watch a Charles Oliveira fight is crazy because I will always watch him get into the octagon. And I want to see if it was just an off night, like he says, and he's learned and he's changed his game up, and he really does think he can beat Islam.
They did announce UFC 310 will happen on January 18th at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Also, site of the first Monday Night Raw on Netflix. They announced that last night. That's January 6th. And they also announced that Travis Scott going to be the one who produces and sings the new intro. But Intuit Dome, home of the LA Clippers, getting some big events. And so 310 is on January 18th. Oh, 311, excuse me. 311th is on January 18th, but they didn't announce the main event, but we all presume it's Islam versus Tarukian. And so maybe Charles gets a fight, I don't know, July, August, who knows, because then Ramadan is coming up. BetMGM, by the way, announcing just moments ago, our good friends over there, that Tyson Paul, the most bet on combat sports fight ever, as far as they are concerned. Surprised by that, GC?
That it doesn't surprise me just because how many people were watching, but it's hard to wrap your head around.
But it was a sham.
Like I'm thinking like I'm not even thinking in terms of like any UFC fighter or anything. I'm thinking like massive boxing fights. Pacquiao, Mayweather.
Well, were they a thing back then? I don't know. I don't think they were a thing.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
When I hear MGM, I think,
that's a good question.
They've been in Vegas for so long.
That's a good question.
But I guess now you also have to think, like, with the legality of sports betting spreading, is it just that more people had, availability to bet, and that's why it was.
Just shows how big of a deal it was. Just shows,
yes. No doubt, because they have been available for at least several years, and there's been a lot of big fights.
What about what I said, Pete, on the back end there? Mike Chandler saved at least the idea of the Conor fight happening with the performance in the 5th round. If he would have gotten skunked 5-0 or gotten finished or something like that, I don't know if there would have been as big of an appetite. But the performance in the 5th round and then him getting on the microphone, almost like he won, like he had all of that prepared for if he would have won, I think kept that alive. Also worth noting, it's not like Conor's on a 10-fight winning streak and he should only be fighting people who are on winning streaks as well. Like, it actually makes more sense now that Chandler lost, no?
Yeah, my fear was he had committed so many years to not fighting McGregor. The idea of fighting him, potentially dangling in his future, would taking this fight obscure it. I think he's in a great spot still. This is not the Conor McGregor of 2014, 2015. I think he would have looked at that fight and said, I think I can do this. Chandler will certainly be confident he can do it against Conor. A lot of stuff happening with Conor at the moment. Court case still ongoing in Dublin. Closing statements tomorrow. Have to see it. Like, obviously that won't affect him in terms of traveling to the US and stuff, but just a lot of stuff going on with Conor McGregor now. So back end of 2025, all TV deals, all this stuff. You can imagine why that would suit the UFC. And we knew that was happening. Come on, we knew that was happening. The first time this didn't happen, we thought it was a possibility it could be dragged on this far. Still a huge star. I don't know how much juice still left there with Conor. I still like the Chandler fight, and I think he's in a good position to get it.
Bo Nickal defeated Paul Craig, and we'll be joined by him in about 3 minutes' time. His first decision win, his first time seeing a 3rd round in his pro MMA career, improves to 7-0. Viviane Araújo improves to 13-6, defeating Karine Silva. Mauricio Ruffy improves to 11-1 with a hard-fought win over James Lontop. Marcus McGee defeated Jonathan Martinez via unanimous decision. What about Jim Miller getting up to 38 wins, 27, I do believe, in the UFC, most wins and another submission for him. He jumps the gilly against Damon Jackson and submits him in the 1st round, and then Damon Jackson retired. David Onama defeated Roberto Romero via unanimous decision. Marcin Tybura defeated Jonta Diniz via doctor stoppage going into the 3rd round. Ramiz Brahimaj defeated Mickey Gall with a tremendous right hook in the 1st round. The Welsh gangster, Oban Elliott, who we'll talk to in this very studio at 3 o'clock, defeated Basil Hafez via 3rd round TKO. And Eduarda Moura defeated Veronica Hardy, stopping her win streak. You know what's interesting about all of this, guys? We've been talking now for over an hour and a half, and obviously a lot went down. It is remarkable how much of a footnote the retirement of the most successful and decorated heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic, is. Like, there's just... Like we could do the whole show and not mention it, and no one would bat an eye. And I don't know if that's just the layoff. I don't know if it's, probably most people thought he was done after the Ngannou fight. And if not for Jones really dragging him back, he probably doesn't fight ever again. And he's very content as a family man and as a fireman. But there he was, just being like, yeah, I'm done. And there's a very good chance we never see that guy ever again. Like, unless it's throwing out a first pitch at a Guardians game or showing up on the sidelines at a Browns game or courtside at a Cavs game, I don't foresee a day where we're seeing Stipe just like around fighting. And it's a little bit sad that he just kind of fizzles out like that. But, the layoff, Jones being such a big deal, the Aspinall fight being such a big deal, being on the same weekend as Tyson Ball, like, I don't see many tributes for Stipe right now. And that's kind of a bummer. But he did seem a little bit apathetic all week long, right? Like, he wasn't.
But isn't that fitting for Stipe?
Yeah,
This is the retirement of Stipe is?
Yes.
Like, he never wanted the spotlight. He never wanted the attention. I would say he actively did. He was an anti-promoter. He did not promote at all. And I imagine it was to the UFC's chagrin. Like, I don't imagine they loved the way Stipe Miocic kind of handled fighting, because he did not want the glitz. He did not want the glamour. Now he's going to never have to be in front of a camera again, go off into the sunset, go to the firehouse, hang out with the boys. And I think it's kind of the fitting way for Stipe Miocic's career to end, to be honest, because it is
no
so
video
Stipe
package.
Miocic.
No,
Didn't even take the gloves
It's
off.
He's
Stipe.
like, yeah, fuck this shit.
It's Stipe.
I'm out.
They better put him in the
He's
Hall
not
of Fame.
playing the game. He's
By the
not
way,
playing any games.
Nah,
That's it.
he's out.
He's not playing. He
He's
never
out.
played the game.
Is he showing up? If they put him in the Hall of Fame, is he showing
he'll
up?
show up.
Maybe.
show up.
Maybe.
I did see Hall of Famer Anderson Silva this week. What a guy. He is just so content and happy. And it was lovely to see him. And it was lovely to see him translate for Whindersson Nunes at the weigh-ins. Full circle. I don't even know if that is full circle. Is that the definition of full circle? I mean, the guy went his whole career without uttering a single word in English, and now here he is translating. And, the answer was a little long, and I was like, oh, God, how's Anderson going to remember all of this? But, he did enough. He did well enough. One more super chat from Alman. We have Aspinall staring Jones and Pereira before they walk in the octagon. If the UFC doesn't give us Jones, will they give us Pereira versus Aspinall? Will they give us Pereira versus Aspinall? That is a big question, but I don't think Dana wants to see Alex Pereira fight at heavyweight. He said that against Jon Jones, and I think he would feel the same against Alex Pereira. At 4 o'clock, we'll be joined by the great Tom Aspinall, the interim champion of the UFC, and yes, he is still, I do believe, the interim champion. 3 o'clock, Oban Elliott in studio, but let's go to our first guest of the day. He was victorious. He improved to 7-0. He fought longer in that fight on Saturday than his entire resume of fights combined and then some. A solid, hard-fought victory over Paul Craig, the pride of Scotland. We're talking to Bo Nickal, the undefeated Bo Nickal, the pride of Penn State. There he is. Hello, Bo. How are you? Congrats.
Thanks, Ariel. Appreciate you.
A lot to ask you about. I do want to ask about the song. You know the song da na 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 da. Were they saying Penn State or something? Is that a Penn State song? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's Zombie Nation. So it's a classic Penn State song. We have that going anytime in football games you score a touchdown, or in a wrestling duel, if you get a pin, they play it. So, it goes, they add a little bit in between every little section. They go, "We are Penn State." But yeah, I kind of just,
I liked it.
Added it to the walkout. Thank you.
It was a nice touch, and it was nice in that moment to see the crowd behind you. Things may have changed a little bit as the fight went on, and I want to ask you about that. But I have to say, it's a little bit jarring, if you don't mind me saying, Bo, to see you like this. I don't remember you ever having any kind of marks on your face. So the lips, the eye, how do you feel on this Monday?
I feel good. The thing that hurts the worst, honestly, is my freaking shin. He checked one of my kicks, and that doesn't feel great. But other than that, I feel awesome. I don't really feel like I took any damage at all, other than me hitting him. My left hand's a little swollen and my shin's swollen from kicking him. But other than that, I feel awesome. So I think most of the damage was done from me hitting him.
Okay, so now 48 hours later, I thought you handled the aftermath of the fight very, very well. And I know you're as elite as far as being a competitor as possible. Like you are your toughest critic, and you don't get to where you have been without being that kind of guy. How do you assess your performance?
I'm super happy with my performance. I feel like that was definitely just a real valuable experience for me and my development. And I think that the way I won was a pretty big boost to my confidence, knowing that I can go in there against a guy that has 26 or 27 pro MMA fights, however many, 10, 12 years of experience, and shut him out for 15 minutes. So I feel like, yeah, maybe the crowd didn't like it because I didn't knock him out or submit him or whatever it was, but I don't really feel like I took any damage. I looked at the scorecards after the fight, like not the scorecards, but the statistics, and I have no idea where they were pulling his significant strikes from because, I mean, I blocked every single kick he threw. Like, he landed maybe one or two strikes with his hands that were insignificant, and I felt like I completely dominated the fight. And that was, I think, a really difficult way for me to win, considering my skill set and the way my other fights have gone. You know, how many times you see a guy fight against a big test, a big step up, and get tired or start to get pieced up or get taken advantage of in areas that he's not as well versed in. So I'm really proud of my performance and happy with it.
Why did you not shoot for a single takedown?
I didn't need to. I was winning the striking, and at the end of the day, well, let's look at Paul Craig's resume, his record, the stats, the film study, and every single big fight he's won has been from his back. And so why would I put myself in a position where he's in his, domain when I'm winning the fight? So I think that for me, that's just fighting smart, not being not being an idiot and not feeding into the crowd and getting emotional, right? That's to me kind of just shows a lot of discipline.
So the game plan was not to shoot on him.
I was open to shooting on him, but I was more just wanted to see how the fight was going to progress. I felt like wherever area we were in, I had the advantage, and I just took away his biggest offensive weapon. His biggest offensive weapon is his guard play and throwing up triangles and arm bars, and he had zero opportunity to do any of that to me. So when you take away somebody's biggest weapon, it's going to be really difficult for them to beat you.
I thought it was really compelling seeing you just make it to the third round because, like I said, you had never seen it before. How did you feel? Like 15 minutes against a guy like that, how was the cardio after 15 minutes?
15 minutes was easy. I was like barely breathing. It was no problem for me. I could have easily done, not another, let alone another. I could have done 3, 4, 5 more rounds, let alone another 2 for 25 minutes. So, I felt like my cardio was great. A big testament to my team, to, my strength conditioning coach, Sam Calavita, with the training lab. He's helped me out so much. Been working with him, before I even started fighting, 5, 6 years. And we're dialing it in more and more every camp. And I think I'll just continue to make big gains in every area.
We've heard boos in the middle of fights before. That's nothing new. But to hear the Garden chant "overrated," what are you thinking in that moment?
It was funny to hear the chants. It almost just made me laugh because the crowd and the people that are doing that, I'm looking at. I'll explain it this way: when you get disrespected by people that, in my opinion, have no idea what they're talking about, it's almost a compliment. And so, to feel that from the crowd, it almost just made me laugh because it's like somebody insulting you who has no idea what's going on. So I'm like, all right, well, it's just almost a compliment to me because I feel like I controlled the fight. I did everything I needed to do. And if I have a bunch of idiot drunk fans that they don't like the way it's going, I think that that's actually probably a good thing.
In the moment, is it phasing you at all? Are you bothered by it, annoyed by it?
No, I'm happy with it. I think that when I watched the fight back, something that was a little disappointing was the commentary and just kind of hearing the way that they were looking at the fight. And it made me feel like they didn't really know what was going on as much. Because anybody that I've talked to that are people that I trust and know shoot straight with me, they're like, dude, you like shut that guy out. Domination. It was a flawless victory. And to hear things like, DC say, oh, he's not ready for Hamza. And I think he was kind of trying to like be respectful, but also trying to like, I don't know, maybe like set me down a peg. It was just weird to hear. But I just feel like the people that I know that are in my corner who would give me honest, genuine feedback, they're very happy with the victory. I was very happy with the victory. And so that's what I really care about at the end of the day. But it was a little disappointing to hear some of those comments from people that I respect a lot.
So you probably watched the whole fight again, right?
Well, I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I mean, I watched it back, but it was very brief, like that night, and I just kind of. I'll watch it back, a lot more moving forward. So I want to get a better assessment of what was going on. So I've only watched it back once, but yeah,
Okay.
I did.
I'm just wondering what that experience is like. Where, all right, you hear the boos and stuff like that. Okay, let me watch this for myself. And you're clearly happy with your performance. Your coach. You have a great team, obviously. I mean, they've seen it all and done it all in the sport. And then you watch it, and you're still happy. But then you hear from people that you respect criticism. Does that bum you out?
It just is weird to me. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out what was going on in their mind. I'm like, what were you guys watching? And how is it different from what I saw? Because I'm also not only watching it myself, but I'm getting feedback from some of the best minds in the sport and people who I really respect. So I'm like, what was going on in these guys' heads? It almost makes me just feel like they don't know what was happening. I'm like, so it's confusing because I'm like, wait, what? Like, how do you get that from that? I looked at the strike count in the first round, and it was like 16. It said he landed like 15 significant strikes. I was like, what? Like he kicked my arms, like are we counting block kicks as significant strikes now? Like, what's going on here? This is so weird. I didn't even get really touched. Like, it was just crazy.
Do you think part of it is just you're such a phenom and people are so into your rise and it's meteoric that the expectation, like we said last week, there's a big jump between Val Woodburn and Cody Brundage, with all due respect, and Paul Craig, and then whomever is above Paul Craig. And so it's almost unfair. People think you're just going to go out there in your 7th pro fight and look like someone who's been fighting. I mean, you have 3 years and that's it. Like, really, 2 amateur fights? They were all very quick fights, and then it's a whole career of just wrestling, no striking at all. To go 15 minutes and not shoot a single takedown and win that dominantly, I don't know what people. Like, what more do you really want other than maybe just a 60-second knockout and everyone's like, yeah, that was awesome?
You're 100% right. I'm in a lose-lose scenario when I look at the opinions of others. And that's why I don't put a lot of weight into that. I care about the people whose opinions I trust and who are actually giving me real legitimate feedback to improve and develop. So when I hear other people's opinions, I just can't think about them and I can't factor them into my thoughts and my decision making. Because it's like, all right, I do what I did. I shut Paul Craig out for 15 minutes, and realistically, take any high level fighter or any person, a high level coach, and have them watch that fight, and they're going to say that I was not competitive. It was 30-27, not close. He had 0 big moments. The only time that he had a good moment was checking a kick of mine, and he landed no power shots. He had no momentum ever. I cut him. I hit him in the body. I hit him in the legs, and I rocked him at the end. If I would have been more aggressive, I probably could have finished him. So let's take that as the facts of what happened, and realize that they're mad about that. But if I go out there and knock him out in 30 seconds or submit him or whatever, all they're going to say is Paul Craig sucks. Oh, this guy sucks. Bo Nickal needs to fight better guys. He's a can crusher. And so it's like, all right, well, no matter what, however I win, it's not going to make anybody any happier. But yeah, that's just the reality of the situation.
Could I ask, I mean, obviously it's hard to pitch the perfect game, so to speak. Is there anything about the fight and or performance that you wish you could have done better?
Absolutely. I think that, I kind of just mentioned I could have been a little more aggressive in the 3rd round. After I hit him with a really good overhand left and rocked him, he backed up to the cage. And I was just trying to draw him out to maybe throw some big shots and then look to counter him and put him away. But I think I could have got a little more aggressive and got in. But I just need to drill more scenarios like that where I'm controlling the guy, and I can not just throw my strikes in a wild way to try to land a punch, but really setting it up. And so I think that's something I want to work on. I want to work on straightening my left hand out quite a bit. I throw a lot of overhands, but I think I can continue to develop some crisper, cleaner boxing, straighten the left hand out in addition to having the overhand threat. And yeah, I mean, the way the fight went, of course, like we only really fought on the feet. So, my ground game, jiu-jitsu wasn't tested, but I'm really confident in that area. And I want to just continue to develop every aspect of fighting and blending it all together.
In order to develop, do you need to be more active? Like if you were the same type of phenom in boxing, you probably have like 13, 14 fights by now. And not fighting guys, by the way, as tough as Paul Craig. You'd be fighting guys who are like 2-10 or something like that, or 5-5. But you wouldn't be fighting every 7 or so months. And I know you got annoyed, by the way. I could tell you got annoyed when the dude at the press conference was like, you need to fight way more. And you're like, what's the difference between 2 and 3 fights? That exchange, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And so, but that being said, do you need to be a little bit more active in order to progress at the speed in which you want to progress at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind people, discussing my activity and talking about taking time off and this and that, because I'm totally fine to discuss it. But he was like, you need to get at least 3 fights. And I'm like, well, I fought twice this year. Like, so what are we talking about? It's not like that. It's not, like, oh, he needs to fight 5 times and I'm fighting 2 times. It's like, we're talking 1 more fight. And yeah, so it's just like a little annoying. But for me, I don't have the luxury of fighting 2 and 10 guys. Paul Craig's, had 18 fights in the UFC. And those are the type of guys I'm fighting. And so I don't have the luxury of getting that development against as a typical prospect would. And that's why I've taken, more time between fights, spaced them out. I think a good example to look at is a guy like Ilia Topuria. He doesn't have a ton of fights. He's fighting on it. I looked back at his record since he started, and he's averaging 2 fights a year from the beginning of his career. And look at him now. In my mind, he's definitely one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, and a guy that, look at his striking when he entered the UFC and fought Zalal, when he fought Jai Herbert, versus now. It's like incredible development. And I think I can pattern myself in the same way where, we saw me fight Jamie Pickett. I didn't really land a single strike. We saw me fight Val Woodburn, who was, his making his UFC debut, not like a high-level world-class opponent. I knocked him out. Fight Cody Brundage, and then we fight Paul Craig. I mean, I thought my development is pretty incredible considering, those type of things. So let's look at where I'll be in a year, 2 years, 5 years. And if I'm averaging 2 fights a year, doing that for, 5 more years, it's like, now we're talking 17-0 and definitely the champ, one of the best guys in pound for pound in the world, which that's what I'm looking to do. That makes sense.
Yes, of course. Dana White was asked about you post-fight press conference. The quote was, "We've had these discussions with Bo. Bo needs work. Bo's an up-and-coming guy. I know he has big aspirations and wants to move faster than he should, but tonight showed he's still dominant. He won the whole fight, but he's got work to do, and that's all right. We'll move him. When you're in a position like Bo is, there's a lot of expectations," end quote. Your thoughts on his statement?
I absolutely agree with that. I think that that's a really accurate assessment of the reality of the situation. And I think that that's where my head's at too. I've dominated the fight, won the fight, and now it's back to the drawing board, back to work. Let's improve and get better. And I'm happy with it because, when we look at guys, I said this on the mic after the fight, GSP, Jon Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Khabib, how many decision wins do these guys have? A lot. And nobody cares when your career is over. If, nobody's going to look back at my career and been like, oh, he retired as champion and defended his belt 10 times, but he won a decision against Paul Craig. So,
yes.
It's like, it's just short-sighted. And yeah, the fans can be rough in MMA, and it's just part of my job though. And I am not worried about it in the slightest.
What was it like being back at MSG? I saw them give you the nice treatment at the Rangers game. You got the jersey and everything. and then just being in the locker room and those jitters. We talked about, the 2016 appearance there. Were you reliving any of that and going back to that time 8 years ago?
Yeah, I did. It was weird walking in the back because obviously, it just jogs your memory. And I'm remembering the feeling of just being crushed and devastated after I lost in the finals. And so I think that what this experience taught me, though, is just how much I've matured since then and grown and developed as a person. And I feel, really grateful to have the opportunity to compete there again and, get the win. And I just saw this growth of going from being a 19-year-old kid who had a lot of pressure on him and kind of crumbled versus being a 28-year-old man who had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and I just came out on top, right? Like, I don't think that people really realize and understand. I'm getting championship level pressure and championship level media obligations and championship level expectations as a 7-0 pro. And I feel like I handled it really well, and it's going to build my confidence even further.
Any extra added pressure having your number one fan, the president-elect, right there sitting and watching you so attentively? Like, did that actually make you, honestly, did it make you a little nervous? This is you two sharing a moment, and I'd love to ask you as well what was said there, but just knowing that he was there and how much you respect him, did that make you a little nervous?
It did. I think that there's definitely added pressure with the conversation and the discussion around my relationship with President Trump, and but it's becoming normal for me. It's becoming, which is even weirder. It's becoming something that's just like part of my life, and it was really it was amazing to have him there as a support. He sent me a really nice text prior to the fight, just kind of with saying, that he was just supporting me. And so, yeah, it adds pressure. And post-fight, it was great to see him. A lot of people saw my little celebration, practicing a golf swing. I asked him how my swing looked. He told me it needs some work. And I was like, well, let's get down and get some rounds in Doral. So he said, absolutely, anytime, and asked me kind of how I felt about my performance. And so we were able to chat for a little bit. I caught him on his way out as well. We chatted a little more, and it was really cool to just get that support. And it's a relationship that I'm very grateful for. And yeah, I think it's like I said, becoming something that's normal, which makes it even weirder.
On Saturday night at the post-fight press conference, you talked about, speaking with Jorge Masvidal and maybe fighting in Miami, not wanting to call anyone out or anything like that. Just curious, 2 days later, anything changed? Do you have any sort of month in mind when you'd like to come back? And do you have an idea as to who you'd like to fight?
I haven't thought about it. I've just been enjoying the downtime. I put in however many 3-4 months of really hard, focused, disciplined, difficult training. And so I'm just taking a little time off to reset, and I'll be back in the gym soon. So as far as opponents, as far as timeline, I would definitely like to get going early next year, sometime like, the first few months of the year. And I feel like I don't really care who I fight. I would just love to just keep developing, improving, getting better. And the UFC and my management team are the people that really kind of deal with that for me. Paul Craig was the first name they really brought to me for MSG. I liked it, so we went with it. So we'll see, who they think next. I'm assuming that it's kind of funny. If they weren't impressed with my performance, they'll probably give me somebody not as good. So if that's the way they want to do it, then that's fine with me. I don't care.
Last question. You mentioned your management team. They also represent Jon Jones, Abe Kawa there, and first round management representing a lot of great guys, but I'm wondering, since this is an opportunity or was an opportunity for you to be on the same card as him, and I saw you guys wrestling and whatnot, were there any moments where Jon, as the veteran, but has been there and done it all and been the greatest of all, like, has he given you any advice? Did he give you any advice? Did he put his arm around you either after the fight or during fight week? Who better than him, right? He's dealt with it all. I'm wondering if you shared any moments like that.
I think just being around him is something that you just kind of learn. You can feel the energy, see how he's acting, his attitude, things like that. And I was really happy with the grappling. I feel like I got the upper hand there. So, we're 1-1 now after he I think got the victory at UFC 285 over me, but we'll have to get a rubber match soon. But yeah, we talked a little bit about nerves and just the mental aspect, which for me, when I look at Jon Jones, that's the strongest part of his game. Everybody talks about the 80,000-inch reach and his leg teeps and different stuff like that and spinning attacks, but I think his mind is really what separates him from most people. And so just getting insight into that is something that I really value and appreciate. And it was, the conversation went basically just like that. We're all dealing with nerves, and it's not unusual. It's part of the job, and it's actually a good thing. So, to kind of hear that from him and just build some common ground was really cool. And definitely, he performed amazing. So it was awesome to see.
Well, for whatever it's worth, I was impressed. I have a lot of respect for Paul Craig. I've seen him fight at 205 and, of course, now at 185. And I thought that was a very impressive performance when you consider how short your time in this sport has been. Really, 3 years. It's remarkable, and just 7 pro fights. So keep doing your thing. Don't listen to the haters. Some of those New York guys, they could be a little bit rude, if I'm being honest. And there's there's parlays involved, and there's drinking involved, and they don't really mean it, is what I'm trying to say. On behalf of them, I apologize. On behalf of all New Yorkers, don't let it get to you. It doesn't sound like it's getting to you, which I'm happy to see. Congrats on the big win. Congrats on a great week for you, and enjoy the time off, and looking forward to a big 2025 for you as well.
Thanks so much, Ariel. I appreciate you having me on, as always.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. There he is, Bo Nickal. Huge win for him, 7-0. Everyone has those moments where it's a decision. Everyone's like, he's overrated. He's overrated. He never was. Everyone needs to chill. Paul Craig's tough, man. Paul Craig is tough. And that was a very impressive performance, especially when you consider the fact he didn't shoot for a single takedown, and that's his bread and butter. And that's why I was so interested in the fight, because sometimes when you have a wrestler going up against a grappler, it cancels each other out, and you get a fight very similar to that one. And striking is what he is newest at. And so give him some time. I still think if I'm buying stock in someone, I'm not wavering. That's a winner. That's a gamer right there. And I'm not wavering. If I'm buying stock on someone who isn't ranked right now, that's got to be the guy at the top of the list. I mean, just look at all that he's done in the world of collegiate wrestling. I'll tell you what, our next guest might be at the top of the list. You let me know, Frank, when our next guest is ready. Or is he ready? I don't know.
He is ready.
Okay, our next guest might be at the top of that list as well. I mean, what a year for this man. I tell you what, 3-0, 3 numbered pay-per-view cards, the Pond, the Co-op Live, and the world's most famous arena. He called it. He asked for it. And look, it would have been great if it was 3-0, 3 decisions. I mean, that's the UFC. That's the creme de la creme. But he lit up Madison Square Garden on Saturday night, brother. He lit up that place. He called his shot. He freaking smoked it. He had the week of all weeks. He wins via TKO in the 3rd round, and then he poses on him. And I can't wait to have, what an honor it is to have the Welsh gangster back in studio. He said he was going to join us. In fact, this is what we said. We said this last week. It was last Tuesday, our last show before going to Dallas. This is what we said when Oban Elliott was in studio. Take a look. Not to add pressure. You get the dub, you come back.
Without a doubt.
But
and I'll teach you how to drink. We'll have one here. Will you do that?
Am I allowed?
What, to drink at work?
Yeah, I fucking do it.
Yeah, fuck you. You're the boss. Who else is the boss?
Yeah, I'm the fucking boss. All right.
Yeah.
Wait, we're gonna drink one here together.
Yeah, that's what.
What are we gonna drink?
You might have to show me some sort.
I
What
know,
about
I know.
Canadian beer? They're not.
Molson.
Molson. We'll get some of them.
Labatt. Have you had a Labatt?
No. We'll get some Molson. We'll toast. and we'll celebrate a successful night in the office.
Who's the baddest man in New York, brother? Who's the baddest man in New York, brother? There he is.
We just shook up the world.
Oh my God. Oban Elliot, look at you.
Wow.
I keep saying it all day.
What's the deal with it? We got some.
Please have a seat. We have a lot to discuss. I keep saying it
Bisping's,
all day. I keep saying, who's the baddest man?
Who's the man in New York City, brother? Oh, amazing.
Oh, fucking
Come
man.
on, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Congratulations. So happy for you.
Thank
well
you
done.
so much, mate. Oh, wow. Wow.
You're
What
buzzing.
can I say?
Please have a seat. Have a seat.
Let me rip this off.
Okay. Look at
I
you.
got a shot stick.
Yeah. And hey, we're going to double dip. I told you I was bringing some Canadian beer as well. We're double dipping. We're double
gonna have to, yeah, right. Well, you have one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get.
You
did the thing.
We're
Let's
doing
do
it.
it.
Are we doing it here?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
This one first or yours?
I want to go with your one.
All right. Canadian beer. Yeah. Try not to get the thing wet. Cheers. Have you had one yet?
No, I'm about to taste it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, that's like
What is it? It tastes like the Great
Glass
White
of
North.
orange juice in the
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, we're
We're
gonna.
double fisting. Wait,
we'll do
by
it.
the way, tell the world what you said. You said, I'm going to bring you 0%. You
Well,
thought I was a little bit
I
a wimp, huh?
No, I didn't know if you could drink on the job. I wasn't too sure, bro.
I told you, I'm the boss.
And that's true.
the fucking
yeah,
boss.
yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Like that.
Yeah, to Wales.
Cheers.
To victory.
To world
To
domination.
50 G's.
50 G's.
To 3-0 in 2024.
Brother,
To the
to-
rookie of the year.
100%.
To fucking 2 years ago flipping chickens at Nando's.
And now we're sipping.
And look at you, lighting up the world's most famous arena. Huh?
Drink it in. Drink this
we
moment
go.
in.
Cheers.
Wow. Cheers. Wow.
That's nice.
Yeah, Bisping was right there.
It's like the first thing he's been right about in like 5 years. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Bootlegger Bisping, I love you.
Look at this. I love this.
Look
I
at
love
that.
this.
Look at that shit.
Wow. Thank you. Ariel, mate, what the fuck?
How did you do it? How do you feel? What do you? By the way, you're some. Yeah, there it is. You're some young man from Wales, and you just fought at the world's most famous arena. You stepped on Muhammad Ali's scale, right? You did that.
I did. It was legendary before I even made the walk, Ariel.
Tell us everything. Tell us everything. Let's start from the beginning. We say goodbye on Tuesday. How was the week? How did you feel?
It was good. It was really good. You get hungry. You get a little bit more. What's the word? I say I got anxious, but I didn't.
Ornery?
It was the anticipation was
Yeah.
building. It was just it was the best week. It was the best week, best fight week I've had. I kind of knew I was going to enjoy it when I got in there, so I took comfort in that. I took comfort in about what I was about to go and do, you know. And
You felt like you belonged.
100%, 100%.
You weren't just like I'm making my debut. I'm happy to be here. You're not taking selfies with everyone. You see Jon Jones, you're like, yeah, John, you're fighting on my card.
Yeah.
You know?
And well, that'll come out what me and Jones discussed.
Oh.
I'm sure. Right?
Okay, what'd you say? You said your team sonning.
Well, he actually apologized to me
Oh, really?
for the Chael slander. I said it's all good. It's all good. We'll get the Aspinall fight done, and he agreed.
Sure. Okay. So you made it happen.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll just get the contracts. I'm sure will be signed, but
Okay.
more or less. It is surreal, man. I saw this moment as well. I saw it all. I've never felt like that before. You know, before the fight, it was all kind of. It felt like it was always gonna go that way. I couldn't really call the finish. I thought I was gonna get him with a kick, but the punch, the shot, great shot.
What is that like when you connect like that?
It feels like you've hit nothing.
Really?
It feels like you've missed. Yeah,
It was
weird.
precise. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And it feels like you hit like air, like
it's
a
weird,
feather.
when you catch it clean. It's when you catch somebody when you catch them clean. It's like I can't explain it. Yeah, there's no resistance because your punch kind of just you kind of take the jaw, don't you? You just take it. So it's like there was no. It didn't feel like I punched a wall because I obviously kind of I don't know. It's a weird one. I'm sure everybody who's
Were you
done
searching
the same.
for it? Like in your mind, were you like, let me get a fucking.
Yeah, I was setting something up the whole fight. I was just seeing what he was going to do, and that my corner actually said, "You've chewed his leg up. Next time you switch your southpaw after the calf kick, just let that right hand go. You're going to land it." And I kicked his calf. He went southpaw. I faked. I had a look. I went, fuck it. Boom. Got him.
And then just...
Yeah, and my uncle said each arm and fist was 10 grand. Like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so, yeah, look at that. You know what I mean? Felt good. Felt unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is like a dream.
What is it like to actually live a dream? To dream of something and then see it all come to fruition and almost turn out to be better than you probably dreamed. Because you probably said, okay, let me go fight, let me get a win, all good.
Yeah.
To do it like this, performance of the night on a card like this, with the 50 Gs, with your family there, to actually live a dream. Very few people get to live their dreams out, right?
No, and I feel like I'm a lucky man for the rest of my life. That moment in time will live forever. The money will get spent. You know, I'll retire one day. But that moment will never, ever, ever go away. So it's... Mate, I genuinely am like speechless about it. Like, I've not come down since I got signed to the Contender Series. I've just been like up there. It's all kind of just unfolding. And it just kind of takes... When you live a dream, I guess it just takes the limits off life. It just does. I'm just like, well, I can go wherever I want.
Why not be a champion?
Yeah, well, 100%. What's crazier, going from what sounds crazy? You've turned a chicken, tell them, yeah, I'll be in the UFC one day. I'm going to go on break. To being 3-0 in the UFC, big highlight reel knockout, me telling you I'm going to be the champion one day. What's more believable? You know what I mean? I can do this. I can, if I put my mind to it, I can do anything. Same as anyone really can.
Right.
But yeah, I can do this. This is wild, mate. This is mad.
By the way,
I mean?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I want to tell you about a young man. This is according to our research. William Gypsy Daniels. Are you familiar with this man? William Gypsy Daniels in 1923, February of 1923, according to our crack staff, is the last Welshman to score a stoppage at Madison Square Garden. He defeated Fred Clark. There he is. Look at that badass.
Wow, he's got a bit of a nose like me as well.
According to our research, now we've had Tommy Farr in the 30s, Joe Calzaghe, as we talked about, Jack Marshman.
Yeah.
But according to our research, and look at that shot right there.
He looks a bit like me. Do you think?
Maybe a long lost.
Yeah, it could be. And he got the last scored. He got the last
at Madison Square Garden. A Welshman.
And it was 101 years later.
Yeah.
That's history. I've just made history. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, mate, that's in me. I did it. I did that. Me, little old silly me.
From where? Where's that town again?
From Merthyr Tydfil.
Crazy.
From nothing. Genuine. Not from nothing, because I've
just a small part of the world.
Yeah. No, nothing. I had everything. I had my family. You know, I didn't have nothing. But yeah. Madison. Do you know what I mean? I did it. But you could. Wow. Just talking about this, I never really like to. If I do any kind of interview, I don't really. Well, I never. Of course, this is just a conversation.
Sure.
This isn't an interview, so I've never thought about what I was going to say. So I didn't think about anything I might have said today. But you know, when I do think about it, what has happened, it doesn't feel real. Like I can't sleep, because as soon as I wake up and I realize that this is my life, that this is actually happening, I don't want to go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How many times have you watched it?
Just all over and over again. It just and the commentary and listening to it all, and the every little moment of it, just amazing. Wow. Like, and isn't it mad how like I never got I didn't get a knockout at the Contender Series. I've had a few decisions. I didn't get the knockout in my debut. It wasn't outstanding. Got a decision last time out. I didn't get the knockout, and it was because it was destined to happen.
It was building to this.
And I even stood in the blue corner, which meant my right arm would be raised, which is the same as the Statue of Liberty.
Stop it.
No, I saw it. You know, just things like that, you know.
How do you have the presence and just the sort of like the calm demeanor in that moment to not lose your shit, and instead you're just walking around flexing?
Because I promise you, right? I in terms of the fighting, the competition itself, I wasn't fully surprised, because if you put me and Basil fighting in here, for example, and I did that to him, I wouldn't be surprised. I know what I can do, kind of thing. So, and I've done a really good job, I feel, lately, as treating these fights, especially after my debut. I was like blinded by the occasion a bit. Treating them for what they are. It's just a fight. Like if it was in the gym, it's the same as you take the gym, you put it in a cage, you put it in the arena. So when I did the actual the fight itself, and I landed the shot when I was fighting him the way I was, it kind of, it didn't look at that, mate.
I mean, geez Louise.
Yeah. Look at it, he's out there. There he goes. What, mate, and when I saw him going down, like, I did lose it. It was when the ref stopped. So after this, see, I stopped. I stopped. I was like, looking at. I went, oh, he's the fucking man. Do you know what I mean?
DC loved it.
Yeah. Just for that to be.
That was iconic.
How good was that?
That was amazing.
He landed right in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, it was.
It was right in the middle of the ring. It was clean. A one-punch KO. Yeah, people have said the stoppage was a bit late, but I respect that, because if that was me going down, I'd want every chance to be able to recover and survive. Like, look at the fight I had in the Contender Series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that, I was given the chance to survive as long as I did, because then I eventually turned it around. So, but imagine, that was as clean as a one-punch KO in the middle of Madison Square Garden. Boom, done. The scene is set, and I'm walking around. Mate,
it's so good. By the way, they cut to and there you are. Look at that pose.
Yeah.
You freaking nailed it. By the way, you nailed it all week.
Yeah.
You were nailed. There you are.
There it is again, mate. That's gone nuts at us.
You nailed it right there too.
Look at the scale, the Ali scale.
Oh, that's what they were using.
I give that a kiss.
Beauty.
And just absorb that, because I thought, hey, whatever happens tomorrow is fighting. But look what I've done. Look where I've got myself, and my family are all together. We're all celebrating this. Look where we are in New York.
I was wondering, they cut to a couple of guys holding a Welsh flag right after. Do you know those people?
No, funny enough. Chael saw them in the airport.
Okay.
I think they're from Mid Wales or somewhere around there. I don't actually know them. But they come to support me. Yeah, I don't know them personally. I've never met them before until I met them on the night. I bumped into them on the night. Yeah,
that's amazing.
But I don't know them. Yeah, just things like that. There was a lot of support in there.
Did you know where your family was sitting? Could you see them?
At the top, yeah.
Could you see them, or was it too far?
Just about.
Okay.
Yeah, just about. But I tried looking for them. But there's levels.
Yeah.
There's a few levels up there. The tickets were a lot of money, so they got the.
What was it like when you saw them? When you saw them afterwards?
I was emotional, seeing my mother, how happy my mother is it's like, wow, when you look at the full journey of my life, seeing that, everybody together, happy, what we're celebrating, it's special. I'm so glad I got to give that, this moment in time, this weekend will live forever. It'll be a proud moment we can look back on, a positive moment we can look back on. That I turned, bad into good, I guess, in life. That's special. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. I'm overwhelmed, over the moon, grateful. I'm not silly. It doesn't last forever. I enjoyed every single second of the week leading up, and then I got that. Wow.
What was that phone call like? You were in the hotel, I think, and you and Shaky were about to go to the arena. You were playing cards, and your mom called you.
Yeah. I spoke to my mother, just talking. She was like, good luck in that. And I was trying to keep it together, and then I just put the phone down and just burst into tears, because I just think, like, wow, mate. We're in New York, what I'm about to go and do. It's like I had a real emotional moment with my uncle as well last night. It's because I don't know, life just kind of, I look at it's kind of flashed before me. When I look at it's like a time lapse, like boom, 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 and now we're here. So it's like a rush. Emotion just is coming over me. I'm not going to cry today, though.
Hey, it's all good.
But yeah, it's emotional. Like it's tears of pride.
Yeah.
Because like that's how happy, relieved, and proud of myself I am to be in this position. So yeah, and then we played cards then to take my mind off everything. And then we got to the arena and it was business. I loved it. I loved the warm-up. I loved the anticipation. It's like, did I say this analogy to you privately? Imagine you're in a shootout. Did I say that one?
No.
So if me and you were in a shootout now, both looking at the guns, one of us is there like shaking. Oh, fuck. And the other one's just holding the gun, dead cold, holding the gun. That's like a battle in itself. As much as you want to be shaking, you got to just stay there composed.
Yeah.
As if this, go on then, do it. Shoot me, pull the trigger kind of thing. So I take pride in winning that battle before the fight. I think be the guy who's cold and calm and
you felt like you did.
100%.
Did you feel that from him? Did you feel him shaking?
I did. I had that energy about him, yeah. Bless him. Unfortunate result for him. We never got to have the beer after that. We said we would. He was a super sound guy. Shook his hand in the hotel and that. So we never got to have the beer. I did send him a text because I watched the fight back and I heard on the commentary he lost his parents through tragedy. So what a warrior. And I actually texted him. I'm sure I can. It's not. I can tell you what I said, can't I?
Sure.
Yeah. I texted him saying, you should be so proud of yourself, what you've just done. You're a legend for what you've just done. You've just fought in Madison Square Garden, you know what I mean? And this was before I found out he lost his parents to the cancers. It explains the tattoos. Mm-hmm. So fair play to him.
He write you back?
No, he hasn't. Yeah, okay. I don't expect it.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, you don't want to be that guy, do you?
Sure.
Over the top, nice to the guy you
just beat. Yeah,
don't need that. Yep. But we said we'd have a beer. We didn't get to have it, so I just felt courteous to just be like, usually we get that moment. Like I had a beer with Preston after I fought him in July. Didn't get that moment with him. So fair
New York robbed you of the beer on the way back, huh?
I know, yeah, they're super strict. Same as they wouldn't let Chael walk me up. Obviously, Chael was in the tunnel.
Yeah, so tell us what happened here, because I saw this I was waiting for it. And then I'm like, fuck, we didn't get to. By the way, I need to.
Mate,
got you one of these too. What you got? You
know
on, this mate. One? You know this one?
It's a map.
You know this? I think they told me it's a. They told me it's a Spanish one. No. What? I had this here for you. You psychopath.
Grow up, Ariel.
What? You did that with your mouth?
Yeah. How do you think? How do you think? Go on, yeah.
Come on.
Yes, come on, brother.
Mate. Cheers. That one.
I didn't think I brought a beer. I didn't know if you'd have
said you were going to bring. I said we both have to bring.
We both come through. Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way.
Oh.
Last time you brought me a gift, I brought you Helwani merch as well.
Oh my God! Ooh,
yeah,
shit.
come on,
Thank you so much.
Okay, I don't know if you're an XL. I mean, your arms certainly are. Yeah. So there you go.
Yes, the merch. Thank you, mate.
No problem. You don't have to open it now. Don't worry. I just wanted to show you that it wasn't, wasn't worn. It's straight out.
Thank you, mate. Yeah. Thank you.
So what happened with Chael?
Oh yeah. So one of the do you call them blue shirts of the UFC? I don't know.
What the brass?
One of the boys that does the running. It's like the running in the event.
Okay.
He came up, showed me a text saying Chael's doing hits with ESPN or something. He's not going to be able to come down to the tunnel. So I was like, I'm not going to see him. And then I walked around the corner. Gassy, sorry, mate.
Oh, sorry.
I walked around the corner and there he was. And I thought, you fucking...
You didn't know?
No, but he told me that he couldn't
Look at this
come.
shot right here.
Yeah, he told me he couldn't come.
This is out of a movie right here. The way they shot that with him clapping, this is like straight out of Rocky.
Wow. Did he? And they
show it again. Show it one more time.
I said to him, fuck it, just come. And he went, I'd love to, I can't. Yeah.
We're going to replay it. But this is so you had no idea at that point. At that point, the thing was over.
They told me, it was over, yeah. But you're locked in at that point. I thought, well, that would have been cool. He done his best.
What does he say to you right there?
He said, you smell fantastic.
That's
yeah, we had a funny little moment, yeah, because I give him a kiss. I was like, I love you, Chael. And, he said...
What do you say to him?
When I first saw him?
Like right here.
He said, I said, I like to smell fresh. I said, I like to smell fresh.
You actually put cologne on?
No, but I think I just put that much on throughout the week. It probably was just infested on. Yeah, I don't know. I got this phobia of
He
smell.
could have walked you out right there.
Yeah, they're strict, mate. The
Are
New
they?
York guys, yeah,
You
yeah.
felt
yeah.
it throughout the week.
Yeah, the New York commission when you
Yeah.
get there, yeah, they're on your case, yeah.
Okay.
So I thought maybe there would be, nobody wants to get fined or anything. But he did his best, and he come down and saw me, and that was perfect. That was enough. It was cool to see him. And it's weird because I don't know, we just felt like it was it's like an Avengers thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like some sort of.
What I loved
mean?
about it was almost like a passing of the torch.
Oh wow,
Seriously.
that is an honor for you to
That was
say
beautiful. I loved it. I loved everything about it.
That is a massive honor.
And he
for you to
doesn't do
say
that. Chael's a very reserved guy.
Yeah.
I know him on a personal level. Like when we travel, when I was working on ESPN with him and Fox, everyone likes to go out and drink or go to the restaurant and stuff.
Yeah.
Chael's favorite thing to do is room service, and he orders movies off the hotel TV.
Oh, is it?
He's not even. And one lovely thing that he does is he'll order a movie, and his wife will get the movie back home, the loveliness, and they'll watch it together on iPad.
Wow.
This is Chael. And so he doesn't like to go out. He doesn't like to be seen. He doesn't like to talk. When we used to watch the fights at T-Mobile, we used to sit in the back, and he would want to sit in the back with me and be away from everyone. Like he doesn't want. You would think he wants to be the life of the party and the spotlight on him, but he's the complete opposite. So him going out of his way to do that is very significant.
Wow.
He doesn't want that attention.
Wow.
So I was really impressed that he did it.
He says that a lot. He says it's a very nice thing for me to do. He says that a lot, that I bringing him along. But I think that's just the honest. I'm just only honest about it. That's you know how grateful I am for that man.
Yeah, I know.
That it's that moment we had before I fought because of how calm I felt. I saw him, and it's weird because that's too much of an honor for me to say passing of the torch, but the way I kind of treated him, it wasn't like it was like we were on the same level where, which we are, you know what I mean?
That is the passing of the torch.
And I brought him in, and I like grabbed him and pulled him in like I would do come here, give him a kiss on the cheek. I love you, Chael. I love you too. And he went, wow, you smell fantastic. Like in typical Chael, you smell fantastic. What is that? What am I getting now? What am I getting? I said, I like to smell fresh. I like to smell fresh. And then he said, I believe in you, stud. I actually promised him I'd win the fight. I promised him. I said, I've got his chair. I promise you. We just had that.
Yeah.
Word for word. I'm not gonna be able to get it right now. Maybe on the night, but yeah.
Did you see him afterwards?
I couldn't get a hold of him.
Okay.
No, yeah. His last active was the same. He was obviously super busy, so yeah, he's a busy man. But I saw him when I needed him. You know what I mean? He was there when I needed him. Fair play to him.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Brilliant.
My mother so loves him as well. My mother absolutely loves him because obviously she's seen so much of him when I was growing up. She become a fan of him because obviously I was watching.
Of course,
everything and she can't believe it. She was like just earlier on. My brother said, one day if Oban gets married, Chael will be at the wedding, you can meet again. And she was like, oh my God, no way. So yeah.
By the way, is it Oban?
It's Oban, yeah.
Oh, so we keep saying it wrong, huh? I'm saying like Oban, but it's Oban.
Oban.
Ah.
It's like Oban.
Oban.
But so many people have said it wrong for so long.
Oban.
I just tune out to it.
Yeah.
So in school they call me Oban, and Oban, and just.
Am I saying it now right? Oban. Oban.
I don't mind how you say it.
I like it. It's on Israel Adesanya. It's Israel Adesanya. I like it
Oban,
to be
Oban. It's like Oban.
Oban.
Yeah, don't worry. Honestly,
fuck it up.
yeah. So all my best mates even get it wrong, but it's just kind of what it's called.
I'm sure
only my mother really.
When
I hear it, when I hear it said like that, I know it's like I get that feeling like my mother saying it. It's like my mother, my brother and sisters. They
How many people did you have in?
There's a photo. Have I got a photo? I'm not gonna be able to find it. I want to say 30 people.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Those
flew over.
tickets aren't cheap.
No, and they made the effort. They booked the time off work. They made the flights aren't cheap either. Neither are the hotels, and they all made the effort. That's wow. And do you know what I mean? It's huge. Even if it was 5 people, but it was 20 people, and that's not millions. That's. I had everyone in the world as far as I was concerned behind me.
Did you even go to bed on Saturday?
Nah,
feel
45 minutes.
Really?
45 minutes.
What did you guys do after when you saw them? I can't imagine what you guys
it
did.
was Sunday was the day of drinking.
Oh,
yeah.
that was the day.
I was wasted yesterday.
What'd you do?
We were at the Liberty in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to the Liberty. They looked after us all. They paid for the drinks for us.
Wow.
All day. Yeah, looked at anything you want. We'll sort the check. They said. Yeah. So we had a skin for yesterday. I probably had 3 hours again. As soon as I break in my sleep, I don't want to go back because of the life I'm living. You know what I mean?
It's like, but you're on a high, right?
Complete. I can't explain it.
Yes.
I cannot explain the high I'm on, mate. It's madness.
When are you here till?
I go back tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Unfortunately, but hey, I've done everything I wanted to do. We've had our chats of. I don't see this as an interview. I've come in just to see you and have a chat.
I'm drinking a beer on my show. I've never done this. 15 years I've been doing this show.
We make history on Saturday night, and we make history today.
Yeah.
We make history
Which
today.
one's your favorite, by the way, of the three?
I like that one. I was
like
really
the
good. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Want another one?
Yeah. Oh, mate. Send it over, brother. Come
Go on, mate. Go
yeah,
on.
it's a good job I got that driver, Carlos.
He's the man. Can I ask? You mentioned in the post-fight press conference about a flag that Shaky had in his pocket.
Yes.
What is
That's
that
the flag I always take out so my dad died. It'd be 20 years ago in January. Wow. And the flag was made just after he died, and
what does the flag say?
it's just Paul
It just says his name.
on there. But the commissioner came out, and obviously he was like, "Oh man, he was happy to have it wrapped around my wrist." I talked him into it, basically.
The one from Saturday.
Yeah, but I didn't have it wrapped around my wrist. I had a Shaky said I'll put it in my pocket, and I don't know. It's like I didn't. I sound like some spiritual.
No, I like that. I like that.
I didn't want to resist anything. So it was like
I like it.
it was like a Bruce Lee flow kind of mindset I had with it. So he wanted to put it in the pocket. Yeah, okay, it's in the pocket kind of thing. Like I'm super superstitious about fight. Like I've told you with the superstitions I have. You know my shorts, the custom ones.
Yeah.
I have a shakeout fight day that I hit the pads to shake the weight cut off, and I always wear them shorts. And I forgot to wear the shorts, so it was like I went upstairs and I said to Shakes, I fucking forgot. I forgot to put my shorts on for the shakeout. It's like. But it could be a good thing. Like you're that confident, you don't need these superstitions. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I'm a little superstition bag. The flag was in there. There's a Bruce Lee book in there. There's a photo of my mother and father in there. And there's a bracelet in there that my mother got for me. Well, she's gonna find out now. It said my name on it, but I had this coat on, this puffer jacket. I had it on when I left for the fight, on the way to the fight. I got into the changing rooms. I looked at my wrist. It was fucking gone. I thought, fuck, I've lost it. But then it was like these superstitious things that I've always done kind of all got kind of took away from me. And it's like, I like with the Chael thing, when that couldn't come, he said it couldn't happen, which of course he did do it in the end. But like, yeah, all them things, like them little habits I had all kind of got took away from me. And I've got another mad one. But yeah,
Tell me.
then it.
Well, by the way, did you find the bracelet?
No, I lost it.
Fucking
But
hell.
the garden has it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Do you know what I mean?
What's the other mad one?
Well, the mad thing that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened, but obviously I felt like it was for a reason. And then I went into the octagon before the fight. And I walked out. I just kind of bullied my way to the arena. I don't know if I was allowed to be there or not. And the camera crew let me into the cage. And the step, I was kind of just visualizing, trying to imagine being there. I'm going to be in a few hours. And on the step said, "Fortune favors the brave." And I've got this tattoo on my chest, "Fortune favors the brave in Latin. I've got that on my chest. I had the urge to get it before the fight. And I never knew that it said that on the steps. And I had the urge to get it before the fight. And then I saw it and I was like, all these things kept happening, you know? It was like
You just got this tattoo?
Yeah, I had the urge to get it before the fight, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just...
How long before the fight? There it is.
Yeah, probably 4 weeks.
Nice hat, by the way.
Yeah.
Who gave you that?
And I just rubbed it off on the camera crew. And Saturday night, I made America great again.
Yeah, no, I think so. You made the world great again.
I made the world great again, yeah. but yeah, I had the urge to get it, and then I saw it, and just little things like that kept popping up, and yeah, it was a mad week. I definitely believe in some form of higher power in that sense, for definite. Like my brother said, we had the chat. Like, obviously, losing my dad is it's like, but without losing my dad, would we be here? So in the same way, I don't know if this offends anybody now, religious talk, but they say Jesus died for our sins kind of thing. I just like to think my dad didn't die for nothing. He died for this. You know what I mean? So that's the way I kind of look at life.
So you go back home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you take a holiday? Do you go take a break, or how do you keep this momentum going? Because I know people asked you about London, and you said it's not pay-per-view. The lines were great. They might turn it into it's fantastic. I love all of it. I love it so much.
The momentum. I've got a house I just bought, so I finally own my property now. So I'll be moving into that. I'll be hopefully pretty busy with that, getting all that sorted. So I'm just going to enjoy this win. I'll be fighting early next year, hopefully on a. I'll make it my own, wherever it is. I'll make it big.
Christmas last year, you weren't signed yet, or were you signed yet? You were, right? Oh yeah, because but you were. I mean, who knew what was to come, right? Imagine, look at the difference.
Bag of nerves. I was just like, right. I'm where I've always wanted to be. I've got to make it happen now, you know. Now this is. It's like here it is. And Dana said to me when he signed me the day, I'll never forget. He said, "Be careful what you wish for, kid." It's like he didn't want to, but the promo swayed him, and maybe someone gave him a nudge. So it was all nothing. None of this was guaranteed. And now I'm sat here doing this, talking to you, which is an honor in itself. Enjoying my different cuisines of beers. I'm Mr. TKO. I am Mr. TKO.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice.
So yeah,
that's amazing.
Nate from TKO, he met me after the press conference and gave me this.
That's fantastic. Did you see Trips there?
I didn't see him. No, I cut
Stephanie there too.
Yeah, I didn't see it. We couldn't get down there. I was busy. It was tough. You know when they shut the streets off and Trump was coming in. It was super hard to get back to the arena, so we were late getting back. So I didn't even realize he was there. Trips.
But they love you,
mate. Fucking, I'm a lucky guy, ain't I? Like,
is that a bucket list thing as well?
What's that?
Like, do you want to be involved in an angle?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah. That's like I don't want to call it a retirement plan, but without a doubt, yeah. I just want to keep this building. I'm hungry. I'm greedy, and like I've proved, I'm not going to stop until I get everything I want out of this. And if I slip, if I fall, if I'm held back, well, I'll get there eventually. You know, I'll do everything. I'll get everything I want out of this life. 100%, mate.
What did you make of the glove drama of the week?
I didn't care, but it must have done something.
Yeah.
Maybe it did.
Okay, so you fought with the old gloves in February.
Yeah.
New gloves in July, and then back to the old for this one.
That's right. Yeah.
So which ones do you like better?
I gotta love the old gloves after that. Man.
Yeah.
No, the right glove I love. No, yeah. The old gloves, I think.
Why is that?
You can just make a better fist. Like the new gloves is like there's a lot of there's a large bulk on the I don't know what set. It's like the wrist. Then you have another section here. Then you have the pad. Whereas the old gloves is just like leather, and then there's a big.
Okay.
It's a bit more of a boxing glove. Like you've got more confidence in throwing, and your fist naturally clenches a bit better. So, but there's a bar in the glove on the new ones which stops you bending your wrist back. So obviously the eye pokes would be less because you can only like go to there. Whereas on the new gloves you've got full range of motion of your wrist. So the new gloves are kind of harder to grapple in and everything. But I'd say keep the old ones.
Sounds like they are.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. I don't know who knows, but imagine it was the new gloves, and people say the new gloves lead to less knockouts. And imagine you wearing you know what I mean, like a sliding doors thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was meant to be that you wear the old gloves that leads to the you know what I mean.
There's another one.
It's someone's looking over your shoulder.
Someone's looking.
I mean,
over
the fact
me.
that WWE and UFC are even together as one in the era that you come up. This could be 10 years ago where they could. You know what I mean?
It's time. I've said this. Yeah. I've said this with like complete and utter serious and conviction. Like, there's no surprise. I don't think someone's looking over me. My dad.
Has to be.
Some sort of, it's like it's written. And I believe in it. I believe that it's written. I told everybody with a straight face, I said King Kong would be fresh off the Empire State Building jumping out with me and he'd have a rough night too on Saturday. You know what I mean? It was like, I know what I can do. I've gone and done it. You know, I'm not surprised. I'm relieved that I showed the world what I could do. Like you even said, did you say when we talked the other day, the finish is coming, or are we going to see the best of you? Because I know it's a marathon, not a sprint. When I'm going to be in this game for a long time, and I'm just getting started. I think that was a big one.
What I enjoy about you is that like you take it all in. You're grateful to be here, like we said. Like you have a great appreciation, and so I'm just wondering, as a member of the UK, to see the explosion for Tom. This week, you know, like at the press conference and whatnot, to see people backing him, Americans backing him, right? It wasn't like we were in London and people are chanting his name. What did you make of all of that?
That's amazing. It's like good guys when they become stars.
Yeah,
you're happy for him. He is a good genuine.
You have a relationship with him?
Not on a. You know, I have no reason to. You know, I'm not. What's the word I'm trying to say? Like
you're cordial, you're friendly, but your paths
like
haven't crossed.
Mates. He sent me that message of support for my debut. I've like said well done. There's no, you know, we're not like me and Chael are a lot closer than Tom are. But he's just a good guy. You tip your hat to him. We come from the same part of the world. We came through the same leagues. So we naturally back each other, and to see the position he's in, he's the star. He's like a real heavyweight champion. It's good. I'm happy. Same as Paddy. Paddy's another one who's like a good guy. You know what I mean? Who's like when they get that recognition, like boys like that. You know what I mean? You don't have to speak to them every day, but when they're in that position, it's like you're happy for them. You know what I mean?
Ian, another one.
Ian, yeah. Ian again. It's like I don't like to be bitter or jealous.
Were you guys rivals at one point?
Me and Ian?
Yeah.
No. We were actually quite friendly in Cage Warriors. We'd speak all the time, and like I don't know. We just keep in touch. Like ask each other how camp's going and stuff like that. We were like we were 3-0, same age at one point, and he went off quicker than I did. But
I do wonder what's coming your way. I mean, you know, I had some people reach out asking, you know, who represents you.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like the Oban. I fucked it up.
Just say
Oban.
Yeah.
I feel like business is booming.
It is, mate. It's we did big business Saturday, didn't we? I had a good chat with Nate from TKO. Hopefully, we've got some big things coming up early next year. It's cool. Cool.
When you sign with the UFC off Contender Series, is it a 4-fight deal?
Yeah.
So one left.
Hopefully, we're going to renegotiate and get that locked in.
Before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight anywhere else.
No.
I don't want to fight anywhere else. But maybe they know that, so what's the point in signing me? They know.
Usually they lock it up.
Yeah, get it locked up. I'm a lifer. Yeah. That's the way I see it. I'm not going anywhere. So, I'm a grateful man. Very, very grateful. We got it done on Saturday, and we're just going to keep going.
Did you hear from any of your Nando's former colleagues?
I did, yeah. I seen a story earlier. One of the boys, funny enough, the story I told you, I was working with the boy that night when I was watching Ian.
Yeah.
I was working with him, and he commented on it, like messing around. It's surreal, yeah. Surreal. But yeah, now look where I am. It's crazy.
Have you seen any of the sights and sounds of New York, or is it just been drinking?
I did. I went to...
It's not bad, by the way. I might get on the... Is it the piss?
Get on the piss? What are you doing later?
What? Well, no, I have to do a show, but I just...
after the show.
No, I don't... What do you think I am? Some sort of degenerate?
Yeah, well, you will be if you bother. Yeah, you might become one.
This is the most amount of beer I've had in years.
Oh, well, I'm grateful you shared it with me. I'll finish that open one.
But I tell you, it's not bad.
That's nice, that is. Have you not drunk one of these before?
It's been a while.
Years ago, yeah. Been a while, yeah.
Degenerate kid, you know. I was once a gangster myself in the streets of Canada.
Montreal. That's right, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll have to visit there one day.
Yeah, you would love it. But wait, what were we saying now? The sights and sounds of New York.
Yeah, I went to the Brooklyn Bridge earlier. I saw saw the Ground Zero. That's the
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah.
I think I've been around that bad.
Did you go to Times Square?
Yeah. I was just by the hotel. Yeah.
Oh, right,
It's
of
like
course.
Disneyland down there. It's crazy, isn't it? I think I've done it all. I haven't done the Statue of Liberty.
Have you had pizza?
Nah. I
Why?
tried having one on the night and it just made a mess. I didn't want to get my t-shirt dirty.
I get some pizza. John's.
Yeah, I had a hot dog.
Okay, on the street.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was small. It was
Yeah.
it was cheap. It was small. I went to Wall Street earlier. I was there. I've kind of
Okay, you've done a lot.
But you know what? If you lock me in a pitch black room with no phone, nothing, I would just be like.
You'd be buzzing. Yeah, you'd be dancing.
Like literally, 45 minutes sleep. What was it?
Why 45, by the way?
Because I remember checking the time. It was
No,
like,
meaning like, did you have to wake up, or you just like?
No, it was like 7:15 in the morning, and then I got up at like 5:08, and I was
Just
like,
because you were buzzing.
I was like, yeah, no, I needed a piss, and then I just went to go back to sleep, and I was just like, I put some music on. I was just packing my stuff. I was just like, this is just dancing, just enjoying.
There's no feeling like that, right?
Mate, I haven't come down since this 22nd of August 2023. I haven't come down then. I'm just up, and now I'm the king of the world as far as I'm concerned.
Are you the type of person that worries that it's gonna come crashing down? Like this can't, this shouldn't happen to me.
Nah.
Something you don't think like that.
But I do worry that it'll come. I don't worry. Sorry, mate.
No problem.
I don't worry that it's gonna come crashing down, but I'm not. It could all come crashing down one day. So you just enjoy every day. The Godfather Kenton, that'll mean a lot to the boys. He says there's no trial run. So in life, there's no trial run. Nobody ever come back down from heaven and said, it's good in heaven, boys, and add another life kind of thing. No trial run. One life, live it.
Yeah.
So every day, I just try and make sure I'm living. Do you know what I mean? And
love that.
Yeah. All my mates are the same. That's why we're all pretty fucked in the head. We're all just like, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Yeah.
These are friends from school? Like you've known them for a while?
School and just life. Yeah.
By the way, can I ask about your relationship with Shaky? Because just seeing how tight you guys are, and he's a bit of a father figure, right? Obviously, Jack. Would you say he's a father figure to you as well as a coach?
It's like Shaky and Carl, my two. They're like it's like having two gay dads. It's like having two. Do you know what I mean? They are my father figures. Like I kind of lean on them a lot. If I need something, I'll ring them and talk about anything. It's because I feel like I've got this duty now. Like my mother, for example, I got to make sure I look after her. I wouldn't. Of course, I turn to my mother for if I ever needed anything. But I like the thought of just looking after my mother now. For what we've all gone through in life. It's like I'm quite soppy. I'm soft like that. Believe it or not, underneath this fucking.
No.
Underneath this. So if I need something, I'll ring them, and they'll give me like an honest account of what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. They'll tell me straight, and that a massive reason of why I'm the man I am right now is because of my coaches, and they'll keep me in line. Of fucking funny enough, we barely argued this week. That was another mad thing we didn't.
Usually.
Oh, we bicker about bollocks, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't say, remember? When you were like that, I say bollocks. Yeah,
that's right.
We bicker about bollocks, yeah. Nothing important.
When did you meet Shaky?
I met him 2017. It was my second amateur fight, and I didn't fight under him at this point. I was in university, college in Bristol, which is like an hour from where I live. And I didn't fight under him. I fought, and he was the matchmaker for the show. So I went in and gave my ticket money over, and we had a mutual friend, a mutual story actually. I found this handbag at my university bus stop, and I looked at the bag. It was full. It was a nice bag. I checked the purse. I saw the girl's name. I messaged her on Facebook, found her, checked the ID and that, and gave her the bag back.
Wow.
It turns out, she come to Nando's in Bristol.
Wow.
To get the bag back. And it turns out that father, or the mother or the father, knew shaky, and then put it on Facebook. This guy put it on Facebook. This guy, Oban Elliott, what a nice guy. He kept my daughter's purse and nothing was out of it and gave it back. And then he saw that and said, I seen a nice story about you the other day. That was the first time I met him, yeah.
Wow.
Seen a nice story about you the day you gave, what's her name now, that girl? I can't remember. Gave her that bag back, yeah. That was the first time I met him, yeah. And now I'm like, he's like, I don't know, the little ADHD child he never asked for.
But that is crazy. That's karma once again.
I guess.
Looking after you. I mean, you don't have to do that.
Nah.
And that person posts it, and then he sees that. I mean,
well, if that was my sister's bag, I wouldn't want somebody taking that. My mother's bag. I wouldn't be doing things that generate good karma if somebody took my mother's bag, for example. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not an angel.
No, I know.
I got morals.
Clearly.
No, exactly.
Clearly.
Exactly. So yeah, just shit like that. Yeah.
This time next year, November 2025. Where are we at? What's coming?
I'll probably be in the top 15, and fucking I'll be big then.
You're not gonna come on the show like this easily.
Nah,
it's gonna be like, hey,
no. Of course I come on the show. Of course I come.
50K.
No, I'll be just keep it going. Keep it going. Even if I'm not, even if whatever. I don't know. I've done it. In my opinion, I did it the day I got signed. I fulfilled my promises to myself. This is all about added bonus.
But now you have new goals, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But of course, I'll walk through that top 15. No drama. Just I've got no. I don't fear. I don't fear any occasion. I don't fear any man. I'm not stupid. I know there's challenges ahead of me, but I can't stress it enough. There's not a man alive that is going to stop me getting everything I want out of this game. Just like I said, like with Big Bad Basil on the weekend, by all accounts, he's the right guy in the right place. He's just at the wrong time, and that goes for the fucking lot of them. That's the way. That goes for a lot of them. Tough shit.
What do you make of the news that came out on Friday, Ian versus Shavkat?
That's huge, isn't it? And I'm happy for Ian. Well done. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Shavkat's a beast, But yeah.
Who do you think is the champ this time next year?
I don't know. Me. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Me. Fuck him. Yeah.
By the way, big weekend for both of us. I mean, I was at the Tyson fight. Did you happen to watch?
God, I can't believe I haven't even mentioned that.
I mean,
yet.
no, listen, it's all about you. It's all about
No,
you. No, it's
no.
okay. Did you happen to catch it?
Of course I did, yeah.
Was it buffering for you too?
No. It was good. I genuinely, I texted you, didn't I? Straight away.
No, I
Are
don't
you all
know.
right? I texted you.
Oh, that was after the
Tyson was.
Yeah, he was terrifying.
Hey, no, that was the day
That was
before.
at the weigh-ins, yeah.
Fuck me. And he went for it in the first 2 rounds. I was gutted when.
What did you think? What was your overall feeling?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What a spectacle.
People are like, oh, it's a sham. It's a this. It's a.
Well, of course, I mean, we've got a what is he, 27, 28?
27 versus 58.
Yeah, fucking hell. That's rough, innit? I didn't like to see him even throwing punches at Mike. But I guess Jake was in there, and it's like.
Do you think he went easy on him?
Nah.
Because there's two sides of the coin.
What do you think?
I think he took his foot off the gas, but there's other and he's saying the same. But then there's other people like Dana who said on Saturday, like, nah, he just couldn't beat him, and so now he's saying that as an excuse. What do you think?
Honestly, now I hope Jake took it off the gas.
Yeah.
I hope because I don't know. I don't think this persona that Jake puts out there is quite him. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like he's a better guy than he gives off.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely do think that. So, but saying that, Tyson was, trying to kill him in the first 2, and that was brilliant to see. Not that I'm desperate to see Jake Paul fail. I'm not. I don't care if anybody. I actually love. We will get back to this. I love Jake Paul's quote. Funnily enough, the skyscraper one.
Oh yeah.
While we're in New York, and it's a brilliant quote. Why worry about skyscrapers? Don't worry about other, because they can just keep. You can just. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no
building. Yep.
So if somebody's doing really well, just don't worry about them because you can just build yours to society. There's nothing stopping you. But yeah, I hope he did take his foot off the gas on Uncle Mike. He's 58 years old. I wouldn't have liked to see Mike get flatlined. That'd have been rough. But so hopefully he did. Hopefully he did. That was my main fear, is seeing an older man getting fucking brain damage, you know. But I thought it was a fantastic spectacle. Like
some suit on Helwani, huh? I mean, wow, did you see that?
Go back and you know what?
Thank you.
Congratulations for having that role. That's amazing. You must be so happy. Like
I was buzzing too.
Talk about me doing, like, you're doing everything you wanted. I'm sure you are. I'm more probably.
When you were talking about some of the, obviously we had different weekends, but I felt the same way afterwards.
You
Like,
probably
I can't
just
believe
sat
that
there.
just
I bet you
happened.
sat in your hotel room and went, "Look at fucking me. I'm the voice of this whole thing." You're like
Surreal.
You're as big, if not, you're as big as what Mean Gene Oakland was to wrestling to MMA. You are, mate.
Some people used to say that to me as an insult.
Why?
But people don't like the pro wrestling. Oh, you're Mean Gene. You're
Nah,
not
but you're
legit.
mean-
But I'm like, that's a compliment. Mean
Nah,
Gene's the fucking
you're
man.
like, yeah, you're the voice. You're the voice. You should be super.
You
proud
say
of
that to
yourself
all
as
of them,
well.
don't you?
Nah, I don't speak to any of them.
No.
No, I don't speak to
No, it
any
was
of them.
great.
Nah.
It was a great weekend. So happy for you.
Thank you, mate.
Truly, really happy
yeah.
for you. And I mean, like it's hard. I always tried to be Mr. Journalist down the middle. I went to journalism school, but we're also human beings.
Yeah.
And when we get to learn about you and your story and how much this all means to you, I won't lie. I was in there and I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We all had the group chat. And all the boys who work on the show, and
Yeah.
we were talking about which beer we're gonna get and stuff like that. Like
wow.
it was. I was genuinely happy for you. And then you fucking nailed everything. You nailed everything from the knockout to the celebration to the post-fight interview. You freaking nailed it all.
That's how I feel now, mate.
Yeah.
It's like I can't even feel that I've done it that much.
It was like A++++. There wasn't one mistake. By the way, the one mistake was the freaking scorecards.
Oh.
Could you imagine that?
Fucking God. I can't. Do you know, mate?
Derek Cleary. There it is. This is some of the craziest bullshit I've ever seen. I can't believe this nearly happened to me. Derek Cleary, you don't even qualify for my old job at Nando's, you absolute buffoon. Derek Cleary gave the first 2 rounds.
DC, Derek Cleary, DC, daft cunt. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And but the thing is, I've just said that now. Fuck.
No,
what if he judges my fights again?
Listen, we know that there's. I mean,
Come on.
yeah.
You've got some of the best brains in you've got some of the best brains in MMA. Watching the fight, listen to the fight. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Yeah, he's 2 up. DC. Yeah, he's 2 up. Of
course.
John Allen, yeah, he's 2 up. Every journalist in the media room at the UFC.
Even his corner was telling him that he
Mate,
needed a knockout.
that is like, when I think about this, right, mate, there would have been a serious darkness coming over me
Yeah.
if that went to the cards, right? That could have been a split decision, you know. But imagine, I don't know, something mad happened in the last round and he took me down and controlled me. Well, I won the first 2. It's 29-28. I would think I'd win. Imagine if I lost.
Yeah. Oh.
Going to the cards, this whole thing, and then you've got people like that judging. And it's not just that. It's, imagine if I was skint and I needed the money.
Yeah.
And it's just half my money. Imagine if I had kit. That is I can't believe it nearly happened to me. And I feel terrible for the boys it has happened to, because that is just a
awful
disgrace. If you'd have took that off my mother, that's the way I see that. I see her dancing in the Liberty last night, having a good time, and I saw how happy everybody was. And imagine if that didn't happen because of that fucking muppet.
Well,
so
it didn't need to happen.
No,
you made it.
Did it. Yeah.
You made it happen.
Back on the positive.
Well done.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
You're the freaking man. Oban Elliott, now 8 in a row.
Yeah.
3-0 in the UFC. 4-0 if you consider Contender Series as part of the UFC, which I kind of do.
Yeah.
What a freaking year for you. Congratulations. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy everything. Enjoy your time in New York. And thank you for coming back and being a man of your word. We got Tom Aspinall standing by, so we're going to talk to him in a moment. I'll say goodbye to Oban Elliott, the freaking man, the Welsh gangster. Victorious performance of the night bonus on Saturday. Quick break, our conversation with Aljo, and then we'll be right back in about 3 minutes' time with the great Tom Aspinall. Don't go anywhere. We got actual walkout music? for our next guest? We got Funk Master walkout music. Is he here? The current UFC featherweight contender. Oh, look at this. This guy's got actual walkout music.
I'm here to win.
Yeah, this is
Win at all costs. I will not stop. Until I'm the boss. I'm coming for everything they said I couldn't have. Roadblocks, we running past. Coming strapped, snatch your bags, climb to the top with the kill shot. Things you prayed and hope for. Dreams turn to hood folklore. Dreams turn to hood folklore. Got a new opponent, time to catch a case. You talking tough, about to test it. No need for judges.
What does that say?
Oh, that's Funk Master.
That's your signature? I thought it said 7 malt. Wow, this is,
No.
yo, this is beautiful. Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
Welcome
me.
to the new studio. Appreciate you. I would like to try this.
I know. I was gonna say. I know you don't typically drink, but you know,
big occasions. We say Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
Yeah, that's what my people say.
Smash 'em up.
Yeah. First of all, the song is called what?
Here to win.
Here to Win.
Yes.
When did that come out?
We're working on some cover art right now, and then once the cover art is done, we can upload it.
So this is your third.
This will be the third song, so hopefully get it uploaded this week, and then it'll be out probably on all the streaming platforms, and maybe like the following week or something like that.
When do you do this stuff?
In my spare time, sometimes.
Yeah.
I like music, man. That was like my first love, first passion. That basketball, things straight out the hood, you know. So fighting was just something that I was obviously better at.
Yeah. Okay. Can I try this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I don't want to screw it up the opening. How do you do it? Do it? This is an honor. This is the brand new Funk Harbor, which is out now, right?
Yes, sir.
Where can people get it?
FunkHarborRum.shop.
By the way, I remember when you were telling us about the idea.
Yes.
Like it wasn't even a thing. And now here you are actually selling it. When did it come out? It came out over the summer?
August 1st, right before Jamaican Independence Day.
Okay.
I don't want to kill you.
Yeah. You think that would kill me? You think I'm that big of a lightweight,
you say you don't drink too much, so you know.
Look at this. 200 pounds of steel here, Aljo. Okay, this is exciting.
Are you
wow.
200?
I'm 200, yeah.
Okay.
How about that? I'm not that wimpy. Okay, this is it?
This is it.
This is for me?
Wait, is that
Cheers.
the smaller one?
I don't know.
I think I gave you the bigger one.
Oh, I want
Let's
to
switch.
I'm a big boy. Okay, here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Congratulations. Salute. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
L'chaim. We say l'chaim, to life.
L'chaim.
Yeah.
And Solange.
Yeah, Solange as well.
Solange.
Do I go one shot or do I sip it?
You can sip it. I would sip it.
I want to do one shot.
You want to do a shot?
Is that?
You could, but I would want you to taste it
appreciate-
first.
okay, got it,
yeah,
got it,
just so you could get it.
Tastes like the islands.
The island breeze.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Solid, right? A lot of people, they don't drink rum, so they don't really know. But once they try it, if you like whiskey, you like bourbon, this is
So
one of the
is
smoothest.
rum something that is specific to Jamaica?
Yes,
And
it's all we drink.
that's all you drink. That's
Pretty
like
much.
so it's not like a beer culture. It's more this.
More rum. Yeah.
And where's this produced, for lack of a better word?
So this is Jamaican rum blended with 3 different distilleries, aged from 2 to 5 years, and we had it bottled in Holland. They have one of the biggest rum distilleries where they just purchase rum from all over the world. So I got to go over there, try everything out, and this is what we came up with. And I was like, I think this is the one. So this is our highest end, which is, we're not selling at the high end price point, which we should, but obviously we're just coming to market. So we want to make sure people can actually get to try it, make a little revenue, and then reinvest that money back in. So we have the white rum, which is going to be a lower costing product, but it tastes just as good. I had someone try it that came to visit us in Vegas, one of Rebecca's friends, my fiance, and he was saying, I can't tell the difference between the two. He was like, how are you selling that much cheaper than this?
All right, we are back on the program. Oh, I got the Labatt beer right here. Shout out to Labatt. A great time with Oban Elliot. What a guy. How could you not be happy for that guy? How could you not root for him, right? Oh my gosh. He's just got a real infectious energy. And it's an absolute pleasure to see someone who cares so much. You can see how much it means to him. He cares so deeply, and he's got such a great story, and he's been through so much, succeed at this level. And so to come over from Wales to New York, fight at MSG, and score a win like that, golly. I mean, how do you not fall in love with that story? Amazing stuff. So appreciate him coming by. Appreciate him joining us in studio. And wish him the best come 2025. Now, as we planned today's show, there was one guest that I needed to have more than anyone. Pick a name in the sport. I needed one name, and here he is. And honestly, he has become, without having to do too much. He's done a little bit. He hasn't had to do too much. He's become, in many respects, the biggest babyface in the game. And if you don't know what that term means, that means he's become perhaps the most beloved fighter in the game because the fans feel like he is being wronged and they are trying to will him to the top. And there's nothing more magical than that. I've equated it to, if you get the references, Cody Rhodes this past year or Daniel Bryan. It's a beautiful thing when it all clicks, and it all has clicked for the pride of Great Britain, the pride of the UK, the pride of Manchester, the pride of Wigan. Sing it with me.
It actually won't play. I've been
It
trying
won't
to play this
fucking
whole time.
play, Frank. I'm trying to do the song and it won't play. Tommy Aspinall is here, everyone. Yeah. Look at this freaky guy. His future's so bright, he has to wear shades. The fucking man.
Not today. I'm just playing.
The real heavyweight champion of the world. The people's champion. And also, the man who is being immortalized on my desk. I mean, what about this, Frank? I mean, come on, guys. Look at this. Tommy, what do you think? Look at that. This is handmade.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I especially like the tattoo on the back. Love it.
Class.
Love it.
The plan was to hand this to you so you could give it to your kids, but alas, you were too busy for us last week here in New York. What do you have to say for yourself?
I was there for 6 days, and you weren't there. So I believe that's a false narrative, Ariel. Actually, I think you were a bit too busy for me, in all honesty.
We were both busy. Busy. One of us was working. The other one was just, being the belle of the ball, and that's you. Could you have ever imagined having such a good week, Tom, without having to do a thing, without having to throw a punch? That was a dream, right? Like that week, I think, couldn't have gone better for you.
It went pretty well. I think ultimately, though, and this is something I don't think it's quite unique to me, actually, but I just love fighting people. Like that's the ultimate thing for me. Is I just enjoy putting the gloves on and getting in there and seeing what happens. Not that I wanted to fight this past weekend, though. I would have loved the full training camp and build up as opposed to being a backup fighter. I'm not saying that, but for me, fighting and winning just trumps everything else.
So in the back of your mind, you're still doing what you need to do on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Are you still working out? Are you still sort of kind of telling yourself you may fight? At what point does that shut off, where that reality becomes more, fiction?
It didn't shut off.
Really?
At all.
Wow.
Honestly. So I did the full fight week like I was fighting, basically. Exactly like I was fighting. And then in the actual fight night, they brought me to like a VIP room, and in the VIP room was like other UFC fighters who weren't fighting on the card. Like they bring guest fighters in town and all that kind of stuff. I was in there with a few of the other guys, and even there, the event was going on, and I couldn't relax until it was maybe like the co-main event. I think once it was Chandler and Oliveira, I was like, right, okay, I'm not fighting now. But up until that point, I was still ready to go if they needed me.
When did they give you the green light to have the beer?
In the walk for the main event.
Is that when you had it? When you saw them both walking out? When you saw Jones emerge?
I actually had it just before, right, like halfway through the Chandler and Oliveira fight is when I had a beer.
By the way, I don't want our team, we have it, but I don't want them to show it. So that's just a nod to them in the back. But there's some crazy people online that have taken from your video blog the conversation. You know about this?
Yeah, I know about it.
This is crazy. I'm like, how did they get this? They took the screen grab where you're asking if you can have the beer.
They think they're smart, but they're not as smart as they think they are, these people.
Oh,
because
why?
Maybe I purposely put that out there.
Yeah.
Maybe I did.
Yeah, you probably got 10 times that amount. Everyone's saying that, which, is great that you got paid to end up not fighting. In the back of your mind, are you kind of hoping, you're hoping that like everything works out and your number isn't being called, right? You're sort of like wishing for that, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
I did not want to fight. Like, I'd love to fight. I'd love to fight both guys if I got the opportunity. But I would like the whole build up, the whole preparation for one guy, the whole shebang. I don't want to fight for one last minute. I've done that a lot of times, and I don't want to do it for undisputed heavyweight title if I don't need to. Obviously, I would have been up for it. I was there. I was getting paid. I did the training camp, everything. I prepared for it, but it isn't the best case scenario. It's not how I wanted the unification of the belts to go down.
Okay, so there's so much I want to ask you about, and also about the week leading up to Saturday. But as far as the fight, let's talk about the fight. Your assessment of what Jon did, how he looked, and also how Stipe looked.
Okay. So you want me to put the analyst hat on for a second?
Yeah, please. I mean, you do such a great job with the great folks over at TNT Sports.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something that I work on. It's something I'm very passionate about, actually. So as an analyst, I think what Jon Jones did was, as the Americans say, it was by design. It was by design, technical, Jon Jones standard style, and barring a couple of things, and I'm speaking as an analyst, but also as a potential future opponent here. I want to keep this to myself, but there was definitely a few things that I saw that I could capitalize on. But that's just me speaking for myself. But some little things that surprised me. But Jon Jones did exactly what Jon Jones was supposed to do. Jon Jones did Jon Jones things, which is go out there and win. Fantastic tactical performance, fantastic technical performance, as always by Jon Jones. Like I say, by design, standard procedure, Jon Jones. Stipe, on the other hand, I don't want to say anything bad about Stipe because I respect everything that Stipe has done. I respect him as a human being. I respect him as a champion. I respect him as a fighter. But 42-year-old Stipe, he just didn't have the legs anymore. Simple as that. And that's kind of a nice, plain way to put it. He just didn't have. He had too many miles on the clock to even compete really at that level with Jon Jones. Jon Jones is just way fresher than him. He just doesn't have the athletic ability anymore to compete at that level, unfortunately.
So there's a debate. Did he look like that because of Jon Jones, or did he look like that just because he's old and he hasn't fought in 3 years? What do you think?
Bit of both, but I would say the latter would be my opinion.
Really? You don't think it was Jon who made him with the kicks to the body?
No. I ain't taking away from what Jon did. Jon's brilliant. Jon's brilliant at MMA. He's one of the best to ever do it. It would have been a lot easier if Stipe wasn't 40. Sorry, it would have been a lot better for Stipe if he wasn't 42 years old, coming off a knockout loss 4 years ago. But I'm not taking away from what Jon did. Don't get that twisted.
Yeah.
Jon did very, very well, and he did what he had to do, and you can't take that away from him. He did everything perfect. Stipe made it very easy for him, but that's just the circumstances that Stipe's under at this point in his career and at this point in his life.
What impressed you most about seeing Jon in person for the first time?
Well, I've seen Jon in person before, but I've never seen him fight in person before.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I meant compete in person. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's way different. That's actually something that, if you've only watched fights on TV before, or you've only watched fights live before, I would imagine most people who have seen a live fight have seen it on the TV as well. By the way, that's the worst picture I've ever seen in my life.
Why? You don't like it? I said it was the photo of the night.
I look like I'm half asleep. I look like I just woke up.
No, that's you sizing him up. That's you being like, yeah, I see you. No, you don't like it.
It's not a good one.
You like the Pereira one better?
Yeah, the Pereira one's better. The Pereira one's better.
Okay, fine.
Oh, what were we talking about then?
Seeing him fight in person.
Yeah. Way different. Like you see him on the TV, and then you see him in real life. And I had the best seat in the house. Again, big shout out to the UFC for that. And I really, really got to see what Jon Jones operates like at a close distance. And for me, as a future opponent, that was some information that is very, very interesting to me. And I enjoyed it. It was good.
Can you tell us more about that? About any notes you walked away with? Any insights?
Well, I can tell you loads of stuff, but I'm choosing not to.
Okay, well,
I think the biggest thing that I can take away, and everybody else, I don't know. People are very fickle. People are very, very fickle. I see like people saying, "Oh yeah, there's no way that that Jon can beat Tom at this point in his career, and then Jon goes and beats a really, really old and beat up Stipe, and there's no way that I can win now. It's crazy. It's crazy that what people are like on this MMA game. But I think the main thing that we can take away is me right now at 31 years old and Stipe right now at 42 years old, coming off a big layoff, are not even in the same stratosphere. That's what I can say about it. And that's no disrespect to anybody, but that's the truth of it, is we are not even in the same stratosphere right now. And Stipe is one of the greatest of all time, probably the best heavyweight of all time. But we're talking about right now, nowhere near close.
What do you think would have happened if you did get the call on Friday to fight that version of Jon Jones that we saw on Saturday? How does that fight play out?
I don't think that ever happens.
You think if they would have called you, he would have said, "I'm out"?
Absolutely.
Do you think Stipe would have said the same?
No, I think Stipe would have done it.
What do you think happens if in a fictitious world Jon does take the fight and you fight that version of him?
I honestly think it's one of the biggest fights right now in MMA. Maybe.
No, I mean, like if in this alternate reality, if you fought the guy that we saw on Saturday, how does that fight actually play out? Not with the build-up, like just from an athletic standpoint, based on what you saw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I ain't 42-year-old Stipe, man.
Yeah.
Jon knows it. And Jon's a lot smarter than a lot of you people think. Jon knows exactly what he's up against.
When you say that he's a lot smarter, are you referring to the fact that this is part of the reason why he's playing hard to get? He knows how the fight is going or going to go or will go, and that's why he's saying all the things that he's saying?
Yeah, Jon's just flirting with everybody. Jon's being a sassy little flirt over there with everybody, and it's great. It's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, and this fight is going to happen, man.
You say that with great confidence and with a smile on your face, and I watched your video blog, which you can see right now on the Tom Aspinall YouTube channel. It's great stuff, and shout out to your team, by the way, for getting that up, because I saw you leaving at 3:30 in the morning on your phone over there. You did have a meeting with, it seems like, the brass, Dana White, Hunter Campbell, because you see you showed you guys saying like, "Hey, hello," and then he says, "I'm going to the presser and just wait for me," and then you're walking out with the same type of smile that you just had right there. And so tell us, Tom, what did they say, just between us friends? What was said to you? Go on.
Well, this is top good stuff, and I would never. I don't air people's secrets out like that. But what I can say is it went very, very positive, and there's got a lot of negotiation to do. Obviously, of course, that's the way that the world works, especially at this level. But I'm very optimistic. I'm very, very optimistic.
When you say negotiation, are you referring to the negotiations that Jon was referring to, or are you referring to the negotiations that need to be had with you as well?
Bro, just throw me a pair of gloves. That's what I'm negotiating.
Yeah.
Throw me a pair of gloves. I'm in.
That's it. Whatever. If they call you right now, you're not going to haggle. You're not going to try to do whatever your deal is. You're in.
I'm in. Absolutely, I'm in.
By the way, can we talk about that fur coat, or what was that? What were you wearing there? I mean, you looked fantastic. You looked like the champ. What was that?
That was some Gucci mink.
Wow, look at you. You've gone Hollywood on us, huh?
It wasn't really.
Oh, wasn't? No.
No, that was just something that I bought. I seen it on the week of the fight, and I thought, yeah, I want some of that. That looks pretty good, and I think it looked well. What do you think?
I think you looked fantastic. In fact, my favorite cameo of said coat throughout the night was, did you see the clip of you just completely dismissing the Jones family, walking by them and nudging them off to the side? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it, but I was sat right by him. It was a bit of strange seating arrangements. It was really weird. It was like, I think Jon Jones' brother or two brothers, I believe.
Here you are coming in. And his brothers played in the NFL. They're two of the greatest players of all time. There's Big Arthur, and you're just like, yep, excuse me. And there's Chandler, and then you're like, hey, bud, get out of my way. The champ is here. And there's his father.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's no disrespect from my part. I don't know. NFL is obviously not a UK thing, so I had no idea who them guys are, apart from being Jon Jones' brothers. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird seating arrangement. It was like Jon's one brother, then his other brother, then I believe his dad, and then I believe it was his wife. And then it was like one or two more people and then me. I was like, what the hell's going on? And like just before Jon was about to walk, I was like, I got to pee so bad. Like I'm desperate for a pee. But I don't want to get everybody up like right before his fight. I didn't want to like, but when you got to go, you got to go. Everyone's going to have to get up for a sec while I go for this pee.
Oh my God. You know why? You know why you made them get up? Because you're an asshole. That's what an asshole does.
That's all right, mate. That's all right.
That's the best. The best. By the way, the clip of you just shooing off. You're too nice to say so. It reminded me of the famous Donald Trump clip. Have you ever seen this clip before?
No, I don't think so.
This one right here. When Trump shows up and all the politicians are there and he's like, "Get out of my way." That was you saying, "Get out of my way."
It was a very polite encounter.
It was like, you know what, Chancellor of Germany, out of here. The champ is here. That was you. That was you right there.
It wasn't like that at all. It was very respectful, actually. I have nothing but respect.
I'm taking the piss. The asshole line that he mentioned throughout the week and then post-fight as well, when you hear this and you hear the reasons as to why he thinks you're an asshole, what do you think?
Oh, call me whatever you want, bro. He doesn't know me. I don't care less what he thinks. Or anybody else for that matter. I'm not bothered unless I know you personally. If you know me personally and you think I'm an asshole or whatever, then yeah, I'm going to be a bit pissed off about it. But Jon Jones calling me an asshole, whatever.
Can I play you 2 clips from the post-fight press conference and get your reaction?
If you like.
Okay, here's Jon talking about you being an asshole.
What specifically has he said or done to make him an asshole?
There's just a lot of people on his nuts right now,
But what has he done though?
Coming up with Jon Jones T-shirts, buying a little duck, and just the little shit that he does. He's annoying to me. And that's my own personal. He annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying, and I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it. I want that fuck you money, honestly. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Or else my life is perfect without him. I don't need him at all. And he needs me. And that's a good place to be in a negotiation.
When you hear him talk about the FU money and everything that he says there, what is your reaction?
I think he should be compensated well. I agree. Because I'm a damn dangerous fight for him. The most dangerous of his career at this stage. By far. And he knows it. Of course he wants money.
Do you think he is saying that? Dana White himself has said, sometimes people want fights and sometimes they say, give me X amount because they just want a reason for the fight not to happen. Do you think he is saying that because he ultimately doesn't want the fight to happen or is willing to take the fight, he just wants to be compensated fairly?
I think he secretly wants it.
You do? Why?
Because he has a gigantic ego. And he should have. He should have. Because he's one of the best fighters ever. And he hates the fact that people are saying that I can beat him. He can't sleep at night. He doesn't, all this stuff, he keeps mentioning it over and over again, that he doesn't care about me, he thinks he's above me and all that. Because this is all projecting. It's all projecting, man. All of it. And he knows, deep down, he knows. And he just has to keep saying it because he's got to defend himself.
You think you worry him?
I don't think. I know it.
You know. And so my question is, when he talks about this money, do you think the UFC, because you will know this is a bit of deja vu. We heard a lot of the same stuff when, we were hoping for the Francis fight 4 years ago. And so there's a part of us, and me included, who thinks, man, we're going down that same road and the fight will fizzle and everyone will say, oh, he asked for too much, et cetera, et cetera. And so do you think that the UFC would be willing to pay him this quote unquote FU money?
Well, first of all, I don't know how that went because I don't really keep up with other people's business like that. It's just not really. I just don't. But yeah, I think it's looking positive.
Okay.
Is what I'll say. It's looking very positive, and I think that the people want it really bad. The people are thirsty for it, and that's always a positive thing.
Do you think he is truly more interested in fighting Pereira over you, or is that just part of the negotiation?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, it's stylistically, it's probably an easier fight. Not that Pereira's an easy fight, because he's really dangerous. But I think he probably looks at it and thinks it's a bit easier because, he talks about the weight and the age and all that. Bro, I'm heavier than him, but we're fighting in the same division. He chose to come up to heavyweight. So, I know he talked about him being a lot bigger than him, but we're technically in the same weight division. So that ain't my problem, bro. If you want to fight guys your own size, then go to 205.
He has also mentioned, like, hey, if it doesn't work out, like, I'm happy to give up the belt. Do you believe him when he says that? Or
I don't. I'm not bothered. And if he does that, that's fine. It's not Jon Jones I'm after. It's the belt that I'm after. I want the belt. I'm not bothered about Jon Jones. Couldn't care less about who has the belt. It's me. I want the belt. That's it. I want to be the undisputed heavyweight champion. I couldn't care less if Jon Jones has got it or not. It's not the person that I'm chasing. It's the belt.
But is there not an argument to be made that sometimes beating specific people is actually bigger than the belt? Obviously, the belt is a byproduct, but to be the only guy to ever beat Jon Jones, stop him, whatever, that's a huge feather in your cap. That's arguably more meaningful and more powerful than being a champion.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's pretty cool, but the belt's what's important to me. Being the best in the world is what's important to me.
Would you consider yourself undisputed if you got the belt that way, considering you're not fighting him and Francis obviously had to vacate the title?
Honestly, I don't really think this is all just shit that I don't really think of, to be honest. I just want to have the UFC belt, and that's it.
Okay. What do you think as far as timeline? What are you feeling? When do we see Tom Aspinall fight again?
I think that's a question for Jon Jones, not me. I'm ready to go whenever, but I'm not. This is what I said to the UFC, and this is zero disrespect to Michael Chandler. But I just said that I don't want to be in the Michael Chandler situation. I'm not interested in it. And they assured me that that's not going to happen.
Meaning, in other words, you're not waiting 2 years for him to figure things out.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to be active, and I want to fight while I'm healthy and young. And then I want to, as I said to you before, then I want to move on and do something else.
And so what is your, like, how long are you willing to wait? You need to fight by which month of next year?
I need to fight by like the end of November this year.
You mean next year?
This year.
This year? I have bad news for you, Tom.
No, I don't know. No, I don't know. I have no idea. But we'll see. I'm an easygoing guy, man. You don't have to talk me into it too much. I'm in. Throw me a pair of gloves. Tell me where. I'll be there.
Could I ask, now that you've seen him, could I ask how with a full training camp and everything, what is your prediction? Like, how do you actually, not just, I'm going to knock him out. How do you actually see the fight playing out?
I'm not going to tell you, am I, Ariel?
Okay, I mean, is it a 2-round? Is it you're smoking him in 60 seconds? Is it going to be, do you think,
Let me tell you this. One of the, and I'm saying this as a fan of Jon Jones. One of Jon Jones's biggest advantages that he has over everybody, and he says this on multiple interviews for multiple years, is that he's a tape studier, as am I. A massive tape studier. I watch the opponents, my coaches watch the opponents, pick up on the tendencies, pick up on what they like, what they don't like, what they're good at, when they're tired, what tires them out, how they're getting up off the bottom, how's the defense when you throw this shot, how do they react when you do this, etc. He loves to study opponents like this. He has no chance of doing that with me because my average fight time is the shortest in UFC history at 2 minutes, 2 seconds, over 10 fights. And that's something that keeps him up at night, that will keep him up at night for sure. I am a massive, massive question mark for him. And I know a lot of his game. He's got a lot of octagon time over a lot of years. I've got next to nothing, next to no footage on me. He's out there of me doing anything apart from bouncing people's heads off the canvas. And he has no idea what to prepare for, and that is fantastic for me.
Wow, that's a great promo, Tom. That is great shit right there. I love that you got the hairs sticking up all over my body. This to me is boxing MMA, the fight I want to see the most. And it's because I think you two are brilliant, but it's just the story and the build here and the way he's shunning you and the way people are backing you and your story. I mean, there's nothing. Name me any fight in boxing or MMA, and I don't want to see it more than this one.
I mean, I'm obviously biased. Do you know what I mean? But I think this could be. I mean, Dana said it himself. This is the biggest fight in heavyweight history, by far. Nothing even close. And yeah, they got the Brock Lesnar's in there and the Randys and this, that, and the other. But we're talking about this. People. The people are thirsty for this fight. The people are desperate for it, and everybody knows it. And don't let John fool you with what he's saying. He wants it as well.
You truly believe that?
Yeah.
And you think so? Why? To prove that he's the man?
I feel like John is a competitor. And he knows he's a ruthless competitor. You can see it. You can see it when you know what you're watching. You know what he's all about. And I can see the way it eats him up. Just from even watching, like, to be honest, I don't sit and watch his interviews or anything like that, but I see clips here and there, and my existence hurts his feelings a lot. On the contrary to what he says, I ain't never been an asshole to him. But yeah, we've got a bit of banter with this duck thing going. Oh, that's so offensive. You know what I mean? He's got to be offended by a freaking duck emoji here and there. Come on, John. Stop being so sensitive, bro. Like, he's offended that somewhere deep in his mind and deep in his soul, he knows that I can bounce his head off the canvas. He knows it.
Do you acknowledge the fact that him saying all this about you is only making you into a more beloved star? People are backing you more because of the things that he's saying, intentional or not.
I mean, I don't really care about that, to be honest.
It's got to be nice. You see the press conference, you see the people there dancing for you, chanting your name. That's got to feel nice, right? When you see that?
Well, do you know what? It just shows me a lot of the difference between the American fans and the UK fans, especially because Jon Jones is a New York guy as well.
Yeah.
Jon Jones is a New Yorker, and in his home city, in his home state or whatever, people are like chanting my name over his. Like, that would never happen in the UK. Never, never, never in a million years would like some other foreigner get chanted over the UK guy ever. That wouldn't exist, and that is pretty cool to see, to be honest.
I had to put a smile on your face. I mean, it put a smile on mine just because it was indication that the fight is getting so big. If people are reacting that way, it's getting so big. And this is the fight, like I said, that I want to see more than any. And by the way, again, what a week for you. I saw you out there with Marcus Rashford at the Knicks game. I don't know what he was wearing, but I mean, you all looked fantastic. Your dad's there as well. Did he recognize you?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah. And Joe, to tell you a funny story about this, we can say what he was wearing. So we got tucked in like this VIP room like before, and there was a lot of VIPs in there, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. So there was who was in there? Ben Stiller was in there.
Wow.
A couple of like baseballs and stuff. Obviously, I don't know them because the baseball's not really a thing over here. What's it called? Tom Brady was in.
Wow.
This guy, Jim. There was just quite a lot of famous people in there anyway. So we sat in there, and this guy comes in with this horrendous outfit. And when I say horrendous, I mean like in a good way. In a good way, horrendous.
Sure.
We were pretty far away, and my eyes aren't the best at the best of times. And I turned to my media guy, my friend who was there. I was like, fucking hell, it's Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy's here watching the game. And he was like, no, it's not. And he was like, oh, yeah, it is. Soldier Boy's coming. Anyway, we got closer. Turns out it's Marcus Rashford, which was fantastic.
Two Manc guys. Is that what you say?
Yeah, we had a good chat. He was a really cool guy, actually. It's the first time I met him. Yeah, really nice guy.
My favorite thing, and I hope you don't mind me, I'm a gigantic Knicks fan, and you got to see an incredible Knicks win against Brooklyn, and you say to me, it's just a bunch of lads throwing around the ball, isn't it? I was like, what?
Oh yeah, you know what? They put me courtside. They put me what do they call it? Like feet on the wood or whatever.
Insane.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool experience. And like these guys are big dudes, like my size or bigger mostly. And these guys are pretty nimble on there, doing all kinds of different stuff. But like throwing a ball, catching it, and throwing it through a hoop just doesn't. It just doesn't do it for me, to be honest. That's no disrespect to anybody who likes basketball or whatever, but for me, I want to see a bit of impact.
Please tell me though you stayed till the very end.
No.
Fucking hell. When did you leave? Third quarter? Fourth? Did you leave?
No, between the first and second.
What? You stayed? You had courtside seats and you stayed first and second? People would die for those seats. Those are like.
I know. And that's why I don't want to seem ungrateful. It's not like I really enjoyed the experience. It was really cool, but I'm not really interested in basketball, to be honest.
Wow. I would have flown back from Dallas just to go to the game with you.
Oh, stop it!
I mean, did you see me out there with Mike?
I did. I thought you did a great job. Yeah, and I really like the drip. I like the drip.
Oh, thank you. You always comment on my drip. I remember one time you were watching the Taylor Cameron fight, and you took a picture and sent it to me. That meant a lot to get your approval.
You got some good drip. I like it.
As do you. I saw you with the jeweler, with Moses, with Jacob. You were all over the place.
Yeah. I was after a new kettle, as we say in the UK. Well, maybe it's just a Manchester thing.
What is that? What is a kettle?
Watch.
Did you get one?
Yeah, I got one from Jacob.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, my guy, big Jacob guy now. But I did like, I was with Moses as well. He's got some cool stuff as well, but it just didn't, the stuff that he had just didn't align to what I wanted exactly. So Jacob is my guy.
I'll let you go in a minute. I just want to ask you about Oban Elliott. He told me that you sent him a really nice message after his debut, and obviously he had a great win on Saturday as well. I just wanted to ask about your thoughts on what he did. Were you there by then? Did you get to see what he did in the prelims?
I wasn't octagon side at that point, but I was in the building and I watched his fight. And it was weird because we got took to, as I spoke about before, we got took to like a VIP room. There's a lot of fighters in there, and you get like VIP fans and people who want pictures and stuff. And I just told everyone, just listen, I'm going to watch this fight first, and then we're gonna mingle a little bit. But until then, I need to watch Oban Elliott. Yeah, I mean what the guy's doing is really good. The guy's doing really good, and he's obviously got a great energy about him. Holds himself really well. Comes from a great team. Big fan of his coach, Richard Shaw. Really nice guy. Jack Shaw's dad. Big shout out Jack and Shaky Shaw. Really good guys. But Oban's doing great things, and that was a big knockout. And I believe he got a bonus. Is that correct?
Yes, he did. He got a $50K.
Amazing. That first one hit. That's his first one? Yeah,
I believe so. Yep.
That hits on a different level. So, I congratulations Oban and the team. I think he's going to be a big star in the future, man. The way he's going, he's looking great.
Did you get your own toothpick sponsor or something?
Yes, I did.
Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that.
I love that. Look, mate, honestly, so this is like, so these toothpick guys, so my dad and Charlie, who's one of my team, you've met Charlie before, they came to me and was like, listen, there's these guys and they want to like work with you. They do like toothpicks. And I'm like, what? Toothpicks? No, I'm not really interested in like toothpicks, really. Like, what the hell is that? He said, oh, well, they're going to send you some anyway. So I said, all right. So they sent me some. I tried this toothpick. This wasn't my own flavor, by the way. This was before. I tried the toothpick. I'm like, wow, that is incredible. It's like a flavored toothpick. I never even knew that was a thing. And I didn't know it was a thing. Anyway, I met the guys. The guys came down to the gym. And I really liked them. Like, I really liked the vision that they had. I really liked the passion that they had for toothpicks, as funny as it sounds. And then they're like, are you interested in doing your own flavor? So I was like, yeah, absolutely. They're like, what's your favorite flavor? So I said, oh, berry. I like berry flavor stuff. And they're like, right, okay, we'll do one. We'll send you some. So they sent me some. Mate, they're revolutionary, changing the game.
Wow.
Changing the game, they are. They're fantastic. And they've gone on sale and they've been the fastest selling toothpicks in the world now.
Wow. Because of the Aspinall rub.
Because of the Aspinall rub. And the plan is to, this is a plan from both them and me, is to get these kids away from vaping.
Ah.
Get all this vaping stuff done. Like, what the hell is this vaping stuff that all the kids are doing? I don't know if that's a thing in the US, but in the UK, you get kids 10 years old walking around with a freaking vape.
Wow.
What the hell's that? And they're like, so we're trying to get something else that you can do with like your hands in your mouth and taste and stuff. And I mean, I was thinking about, we spoke about it last week. One of the guys from Barstool mentioned it could be revolutionary, like with MMA fighters using it for when they're cutting weight and stuff.
Oh yeah, a little bit of taste.
It doesn't have any calories or anything like that. You just literally put it in your mouth, and it doesn't. There's nothing actually going inside your body. So I think it's a good idea, mate. You just made me talk for 5 minutes about toothpicks, but
there you go.
It's check them out.
Well, what a weekend for you and the team. Also, shout out to Big Phil DeFries, getting another W in KSW. Yeah. The freak.
Go on, Phil. I mean, Phil, I think this is a really tough fight for Phil, actually, on paper. The guy he fought was a rematch the first time they had a tough 5-rounder. And the guy's been on a 4-fight knockout streak since. And Phil handled him. And I was a little bit upset that I couldn't be in Poland, to be honest, because I like to corner Phil and be there for Phil when I can. But congratulations to Phil, obviously, of course. And more big thing coming from him soon.
And we did have a chat with an unofficial member of the team who actually wanted to wish you some good wishes as you embark on this big-time fight against Jon Jones. Hopefully it happens in 2025. Take a look at this.
What up, Ariel? And of course, what up, Tom? Congrats, brother, because the fight is gonna happen. You versus Jon Jones. You know we got this. I can't wait to get to work. Let's go, brother.
The great Rico Verhoeven. Everyone's excited for you, Tom.
Everybody's excited. Everybody's excited. I mean, there's nothing announced yet, but Jon Jones has just been a little tease. Let's just give it up. Nearly fell off my chair, getting that excited. Let's give him a little minute. Let's give him a little minute, and we're gonna work out this super fight 2025.
What's your prediction? What month? Tell us. What do you think? What do you feel right now? Give us a month.
I don't know. That's not up to me.
What's your feeling? What's your gut say?
I mean, around my birthday would be nice. April.
Oh, okay. I have some news for you. I think that's too soon. I was going to say July.
International Fight Week.
Yeah.
I love it. Right. That's going to do some numbers.
Oh my gosh.
That would be such. I mean, I'm all right with July as well.
July would be fantastic. I think that makes all the sense. If the fight doesn't happen, though, do you at least agree on this? If he says, I will not fight Tom, the money doesn't make sense, the risk isn't worth it, he has to give up the belt. If you don't fight the number one contender who's the interim champion.
I don't know how it's going to look, but I'm fighting for the belt next.
The undisputed belt.
The undisputed belt, yeah. Come on, man.
Okay. You've been promised this?
I ain't an idiot.
Have you been told this?
Sorry?
Have you been told this? Have you been promised this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Like, the first time I defended the interim, it was very personal for me. I thought, in all honesty, it was a bit silly the first time. But it was very personal fight for me because, number one, it's in Manchester, which is my home city, born and raised. The second thing is, it was against Curtis Blades, who I technically had a loss against when I got injured. So if it was any other circumstances, well, I probably still would have done it, to be honest, because what else am I going to do? Sit on the couch and scratch my ass for a year. But I thought it was silly the first time, and I ain't doing it again.
I love it. And I hope it happens. And I want to see it happen, and it's great to see how everything has come together for you in this big way. And especially what a week. It was every week. Okay, one last thing. Your thoughts on the gloves? The whole drama. Do you think it was him who asked for it, or do you think it was the UFC? What do you think? And what is your opinion? Do you like the old gloves or the new gloves?
No, I like the old gloves, in all honesty. And also something that I asked for is because, so my last fight, when I fought Blades, I was obviously a defending champion. So both guys, the contesting champion and the defending champion, wear the gold gloves.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had ever fought in gold gloves. And I felt like, because I'm so used to fighting people in black gloves, I thought it was a little bit weird. Like seeing gold fly towards my face was a little bit, I wasn't used to it. And so I immediately messaged the UFC and was like, listen, can you send me some gold gloves? Because I'm going to have my training partners wear gold gloves moving forward. And I didn't really like the way they fit. The old ones are just better. in all honesty. So I'm happy that they're back.
Lovely. All right. Well, thank you to Jon Jones for that as well. Tom, really appreciate it. I know it's been a long day of travel. There was a lot to get to. I think we covered it all. Unless there's anything else that we need to cover, or do you feel like we addressed everything here?
Yeah, I got one thing. I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, please.
Actually, and this is a message to all the experts online and all the experts in the street who want to come over and tell me what I got to do next to get a fight with Jon Jones. I got to say to Jon Jones what I got to say to the media or anything and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And this goes for everybody who wants to try and preach on what I need to do with my career and my life. I'm gonna go ahead and be myself. And if people don't like me for doing that, then that's fine. But I'm not going to start acting like somebody else and doing some weird call outs and acting some weird kind of way and then have people hate me for being somebody else. That's weird. Like, if you want to hate me for being me or you want to love me for being me, I'll accept both of them with open arms. I ain't running around being anybody else, taking people's advice who've never even been close at this level very much.
I love it. Be yourself. It has served you well up until this point. Why change now? You're the interim champion, hopefully getting a chance to fight for the actual belt. Jones versus Aspinall. Golly. Just from a stylist, forget about all the other stuff, which, I get intoxicated by. I love the build. I love the drama. I love all that. But just from a stylistic standpoint, after what we saw from Jon yesterday, on Saturday, with the kicks, with the takedown, with the ground and pound, and knowing how good you are, on the ground as well, and how well-rounded you are, how you are the hybrid of Cain Velasquez and Frank Mir. I always say this. Just from a stylistic standpoint, there isn't a fight that is more interesting to me, regardless of weight class. Just the matchup. And I'll tell you what, I was more impressed with Jon on Saturday than I was against Ariel Helwani, because I felt like we got to see the true heavyweight form of Jon Jones. And I know you could say what you want about Stipe, but that made me into a believer that he can do this at heavyweight, that he's still the same old guy when motivated. So I want to see that version against you in July in Las Vegas. It would be incredible.
That's what we're doing.
Love it, Tom. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. This will be waiting for you for the next time you come to New York. It'll be right here waiting right next to my computer, all right? All the best to you. Congrats on a great week. You're the freaking man. Thank you so much, Tom. There he is, Tom Aspinall, as the sun is setting behind us. And Jon, would love to have you on the program as well. My good friend Andrew Feldman over on Twitter put out a series of clips back. Was it Andrew? I think it was Andrew, or maybe it was No Context, Ariel. Maybe it was No Context of us talking throughout the years, and always had a great relationship. And I don't think much has changed. I know he posted that one thing where he was responding. I think it was when I spoke to Francis. But recently we were talking even about a picture that my son drew, and it said Jon Jones on it. Not the fighter. I think he's some sort of character. Is there a cartoon character named Jon Jones, or a comic book character, or someone named Jon Jones? Or
Who, me?
Or Bones Jones or something? I don't know. This was like a year or so ago, and he responded to it and whatnot. So there's no there's no like ill feelings or anything like that. And I just said it. I was blown away. I think you can make a case now for pound. I think you very much make that case. Obviously, greatest of all time if everything is included. The only thing that I think he had a fantastic week. I mean, what more can I say that's positive about his past week? The only thing is, if this fight doesn't happen next, then I just don't know how you can call yourself the heavyweight champion. And if he wants to have these fun fights, that's fine. Just have to give up the belt. There was another thing that he mentioned at the post-fight press conference that I wanted to bring up. Here's him talking about the possibility of relinquishing the title. In a moment, I'll show you that. He's talking about the possibility of him relinquishing the title and going after Alex Pereira. Here we go.
For me, it'd just be worth my while fighting against Pereira. People can call me a duck and a chicken. I'm going to go home and cash a massive check. And so the duck and chicken thing is kind of funny. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. And if it doesn't line up, then professing my love for Jesus in front of everybody tonight, and telling the world how proud I am to be an American champion, and fighting in front of my president. Man, if that was my last fight ever, then I'm cool with that. That was the way to do it. I did the Donald Trump. That was the way to do it, man. So I think one of the really good things about negotiating is being willing to walk away from a deal. And that's the deal that I want. And if that's not what the fans want, then I guess I'll say sayonara.
Sayonara. There it is, the tail of the tape versus Alex Pereira. The one I'm more interested in is the Aspinall tail of the tape. And in case you're wondering what the resume is, yeah, there it is. Tommy Aspinall, 15-3, 11 knockouts versus 11, subs 4 versus 7. Obviously, Jones's record is tremendous, 28-1, 1 no contest. Look at the height. Tom 1 inch taller. Look at the reach, 84.5 versus 78. Some factoids in case you are not a believer in Tom Aspinall. First round KO victories over 5 of the top 10 heavyweight in the rankings right now, and 3 of the top 5 heavyweights. Shortest average fight time in UFC heavyweight history, 202. Joined 4th already with most fight night bonuses, 7th. Most average knockdowns per 15 minutes in UFC history. Most strikes landed per minute in UFC heavyweight history, 8 on average per minute. He is on some kind of roll, and I love the optimism. I love that he believes that he will get the fight. And I can't wait to see. This is going to be, like, when we do our, look ahead to 2025, this is the story of the year. Last year, I remember saying, the story of the year is what's going to happen with Saudi Arabia. This is the story of the year for 2025. Can they get this fight over the line? Can they make it happen? It was a common theme throughout the fight. People acknowledging President Trump. What a walkout. Can they acknowledge now that the first walkout wasn't a coincidence? Remember when Dana White said it was a coincidence? That he just happened to walk out and they had the music. Now it's like a whole big to-do. He walks out. It's Kid Rock and Dana and the Trump sons and Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk and a ton of famous people. Who else was there?
The House Speaker.
The House Speaker. RFK was there. I mean, it was the Republican Avengers. And every fighter seemed to want to acknowledge him or shake his hand or, pay homage to him, dance, all this stuff. And it was a theme. And I noted on Twitter, we don't have the clip, but, Dana White, this was so funny to me. Dana afterwards said something to the effect of like that the 2 people that the world hates, or the 2 entities that the world hates the most right now, are the media and politicians. And I quipped like, oh, that's not very nice to all the important people that were sitting cage side. And people either thought I was talking about the media, which I wasn't, or that I was anti those people, which I'm not. But it's just crazy how everyone goes from like 0 to 100 real quick. You had actual politicians there. Whether or not you want to pretend like they're not, or that they're renegades, or that they're rebels, he was the president once. That in itself makes him a politician, not to mention all the other people that were surrounding him. And he's going to be again. So this idea that like it's not a little bit weird to say that the world hates politicians, yet the UFC has been so politicized and there's politicians all around the cage. And again, I don't care. Go back to what I said a month ago about all of this. Is crazy how people just spin this stuff. And then so yesterday it just spiraled into this whole thing on my Twitter. I was like, A, maybe I just should have just shut my mouth, which is probably the easiest thing to do. B, people probably thought I was defending the media, which I wasn't. Whatever, don't care. He keeps saying this thing about the media being dead and how podcasts are a thing that he found and how they speak to the people and all this stuff. Meanwhile, we've been doing podcasts for well over a decade. The irony of having actual politicians walk out. Like there is no sport that has become more political than the UFC. There's actual like promos for politics on the UFC broadcast. You don't see that in any other sport. Is there any other sport that does this at this point? And I don't know if it's going to continue once, the inauguration happens and whatnot, but like there's actual politicians there and you're saying that people hate politics or politicians. How could that be? they're getting record numbers of people voting. I don't know. It's
tough.
It's just it gives it was like what are we talking about here? There is no sport that embraces politicians more than our sport or this particular organization. Anyway, commiserations to Chris Weidman. His fight was pulled at the last minute. Eric Anders announcing that he suffered food poisoning the night before and couldn't fight. Hate that for him. Hate that for Chris. Chris Weidman will join us tomorrow on the program to talk about that. We'll also be joined tomorrow by the American gangster himself, Chael P., his first official appearance in the new era, in the new studio. Yes, Chael P., the largest arms. We go from the Welsh gangster to the American gangster. How about that? Very excited to announce that. Congratulations to Mikey Musumeci. He has signed with the UFC, and it's more like Fight Pass grappling deal. They're making a push. This is a big blow to one championship. And I think he's a big star and very likable and has a big following. So very curious to see where they go with that. Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie added to UFC 310 on December 7th. By now, you obviously know Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Gary has been added to 310. We're going to talk more about that on tomorrow's show. And Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley is the new main event for the last show of the year, December 14th. So it's now 310 headlined by Pantoja versus Asakura for the flyweight title. Co-main is Shavkat versus Ian in a number one contender fight. No belt on the line. Winner gets Bilal. Shout out to Shavkat for taking the fight. A lot of people probably wouldn't, but he came all the way here from Kazakhstan. He wants to fight. He wants to get paid, and fair play. Well done. So we'll talk more about that. Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie added to that card as well. Off that card is Nick Diaz. Replacing him is Themba Gorimbo. Did I butcher his name? I might have butchered his name. Is it Themba Gorimbo?
Themba Gorimbo, yeah.
Gorimbo. Why did I say Gorimbo? It's been a long day. Themba Gorimbo, the Zimbabwean fighter with the great backstory. Obviously, a good friend of Dwayne Johnson's. So he will replace him against Vicente Luque, a fight that he has wanted for quite some time. And yes, that footage of Nick, I've asked his team about it. They said that the footage was old, but weren't very clear as to why he was out. And Dana White was asked about it at the post-fight press conference, and he didn't even seem to know that he was out. I don't know if that was him playing coy or whatnot, but we do hope that he is well and in good health and good spirits, and that, I don't know. I think everyone just wants Nick to be happy, healthy, and to be able to live a happy, healthy, and successful and productive life. So we'll see what happens. We shall definitely see what happens. It is uncomfortable to see that stuff, but without knowing the context and without knowing when exactly it was and what exactly was going on, it's hard to fully weigh in on it. So let us see. Do want to also announce that tomorrow we will also be joined in studio by my good friend Ade Oladipo of DAZN, and our show is finally kicking off. Ariel and Ade finally kicking off. So here's the schedule tomorrow. We have our regular show, 1 to around 3:30-ish, 4. Then we'll take an hour break, and then beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern on DAZN, exclusively on DAZN. So it won't air on our YouTube channel. It has to be on DAZN, but it's free. It's in front of the paywall, if you will. The first episode of Ariel and Ade will be joining us in studio for that, flying over from London to be in studio. So it's now every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on DAZN. Just add another little jewel into our crown, here at Uncrown. It's another one. Monday, AH show. Tuesday, AH show. Tuesday night, Ariel and Ade. Wednesday, AH show. Thursday, the boys in the back. Friday, the crack. Watch parties, post shows, Helwani Vision. I mean, we probably missing a whole bunch of stuff. And what about uncrown.com? Traffic through the roof, engagement through the roof. Yeah, you're home for all things combat sports. Couldn't be happier with how the weekend went. A massive weekend from Arlington to New York and everywhere in between. Everyone stepped up. Everyone in the control room stepped up. The whole team, the whole production team, fantastic, doing back-to-back watch parties, back-to-back post shows as well. Everyone's back. The whole team is under the weather. Is everyone under the weather back there?
No.
Everyone's good.
Everyone's great.
Good form, good spirits.
Couldn't be better.
You sound fantastic, Frank.
Thank you.
And so it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be alive. All right, we are done. We're out of time. The sun has fully set. A lot more chatter to come this week. We got some big guests coming on Wednesday as well. I can't wait for that episode, but I can't wait for tomorrow because my good friend Chill P going to be joining us. Yeah. Oh, wait.
How you feeling after those beers?
Did you ever think you'd see Helwani not just double fisting, triple fisting? It's the true independent Helwani era. If I'm being honest, I actually really like the Sapporo. Shout out to Bisping on this one. It's nice. It was like foamy.
There we go.
The
highest compliment you can get to a
beer.
beer.
If there's one thing I know, it's that people love foam on their beers.
It was soft. It was soft. It felt like a pillow.
More of that foam. We need more head on that.
By the way, Jon Jones, the name of Martian Manhunter from DC Comics.
There it is.
Martian Manhunter. Your kids are big fans.
My kid drew a picture of Jon Jones, and I tagged him.
You're like, that doesn't look like
And we
Jon
talked
Jones.
about kids. So this whole idea that we're not friends, hogwash. Hogwash. I have a Jon Jones toy somewhere here. Bang. All right. What a time. Is my assistant still back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lululemon, you got to step up your game. I need more clothes, okay? Now that we're Netflix. Ariel, Netflix, Helwani. Put it on the plaque, put it on the door, put it in my changing room. That's how we're going by from here on out. Back tomorrow, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. I'm out.